first one on LinkedIn. There we go.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Oh, sorry, we're live now. We are live. We'll give it, as always, a few minutes for people to pop on and join us. Hello, welcome. Welcome, Arush.
Hey,
How are you
welcome,
doing?
welcome everyone. Thank you for organizing this. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'm good. I'm doing well. I'm excited for what we have in store for everyone
Yes,
today.
this is going to be a fun one. We are live on LinkedIn, on my Facebook personal page,
Mhm.
and YouTube. We're not doing Instagram today. Bit of a faff that one, having to set it up
I don't like.
separately and all that. So yeah. So we've got a topic here today. We'll give it a couple more minutes as well for people to come on. And if you are watching us, it's really helpful if you give us a little thumbs up, give us a little like, give us a little comment to let us know that you're there. Let us know who you are, where you are, so that we know. So we've got a couple of viewers. So if you're there, give us a little comment, say hello, so we can see who is joining us today. I just realised I put my blind down, and now I've got really weird shadow going on. I might change that in a minute. Never mind. We'll see. So welcome. Please comment so we know that you're there. And I think, Arish and I were just talking, and as we were prepping this session, that we really want people to engage and share your comments. So when we posted this live stream about why most self-help doesn't actually help, we asked people to give us examples of things they've heard in the self-help industry that don't actually help, false wisdom, things that are not really true. And we got loads of those. So we're going to be sharing those. I've
Mhm.
popped them into a little slide deck, and we're going to be sharing those today. So thank you, everybody who commented. And also those of you who are going to watch this later. A number of people said, I can't make the live, but I want to watch later. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for watching whenever you watch this. And even if you don't watch live, you can still comment. We will come back to what you're saying and share our views and respond. So we would love people to share as we go through, ask questions, like it, subscribe, share, whatever you feel true to do for you. And thank you for joining us. It's been a while since I've done a live stream. Arusha, when you last did anything like this?
The last one was with you a few
Was it with
years ago.
me? I was going to say. I'd love to do more. Let's see how it
Yeah.
goes. Let's see if it
What do
feels
you
true.
think about lives though? How do, because I know you've done some before. How does it
Yeah.
work for you?
I really love it. And
Mm-hmm.
hence I also have a lot of resistance, and I just keep stopping doing them. But I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love it. I get nervous right now. I'm not fully relaxed, I'll be honest. I'm a bit like, oh, but once I get into the flow of it, I love it. But for me it works because I like to just talk, whatever
Yeah.
comes out. I did the free flow. I'm not very good with like editing and curating videos and making them look cool. I'm just like, let me just sit here and chat. Whatever comes up, comes up. I love doing them with other people, makes it much more interesting. So yeah, I really, really enjoy them. And I'm trying not to beat myself up for the fact that I don't do them as much anymore. But I do want
Mhm.
to. It's definitely part of something I love to do. It's fun, and it's really cool on here because you can go on like multiple platforms at the same time, so it's easy. Yeah, I really, really enjoy them. Let's give a quick
Nice.
introduction, Arush, as well. Arush, do you want to introduce yourself while I just open my blind? Give me one
Yeah.
second. Yeah.
Yeah. So, my name is Arush, and for the last 8 years, I've been working with people um, in essentially achieving results. But how do we do it effectively? How do we do it in in a way that works for you and it works every single time for the rest of your life? So I work with performance and results basically, but using your own instincts, using your own talents, abilities, and streamlining them in a way that just makes life easier and achieving effective and fun. So that's what I do.
Thank you, lovely. And I am a corporate resilience well-being trainer and speaker, and also a spiritual and intuitive coach, helping people to bring their visions into reality. So, shall we kick off? Shall we do a little bit of like why we're doing this? Why most self-help doesn't help? And when I should I start? Or do you want to start?
I can start, but I'm afraid I might go on a rant. So if I
It's
do,
okay. Go rant away. That's what this is for.
yeah, I mean, self help. pisses me off so much. It like I am a very calm, collected person in real life, but this is one thing that really stings me, and it just really, fills me up with anger. Why? Because it's mostly, I would say, in my experience, about 90% of what we read is either incomplete or is it's complete bullshit. It doesn't get the results, it doesn't take people forward, it doesn't grow, and people cling on to it like it is their way of survival, like it is what will get them through life. And it is not. It is absolutely not. And I saw the difference within myself because I went into self-help right after university because I had no idea what the hell I was doing with my life. And I came across so many people talking about fear, overcoming fear, um, not being depressed, and all of these things, and how we had to undo basically everything that we had experienced in the past to be able to get over it and to be able to start living the way we want to live. And I tried that for a long time and it got me nowhere. But then when I found what I'm teaching now, it was just like that. It was like instantaneous in the sense of, oh, whatever happened, whatever I feel is broken within me, it can just be done. Don't have to fix it, don't have to overcome it, don't have to like give it any kind of attention whatsoever, and you can just still do the things that you want, and you can still have an experience of your own inner genius and power in the world, despite how screwed up you are in life, or despite however bad life has been to you. And so what I realized was self-help has been in this industry for such a long time, and it is so disempowering. It is screwing with people's lives, but it's doing it in such a way, in such a small, one step at a time kind of a thing, where people feel comfortable with it, where people feel, yeah, it's good to be grateful, and that will help me manifest. And yeah, positive affirmations, I'm living my life and doing all of it. It feels good momentarily, but when you look at the long term, it screws you over completely. And that is what pisses me off. People have no idea they're screwing themselves over, and people who are teaching that, they don't know either. They have no idea what they're doing to people. So that's why I am pissed off.
I love it. I love it, especially the bit you said at the end there, that is something that really comes up for me as well. Is that now with social media and well-being and performance and resilience and having the life you want is becoming in everyone's faces, right? All over social media, everyone's more focused on it, particularly after COVID. And the reality is, I read something the other day that by 2040, depression, stress, anxiety, chronic pains, and things which are all related to that are going to be the biggest illnesses that people are suffering. So it's not even the cardiac issues, the diabetes, the cancers and things. It's depression, anxiety. People are really suffering and really struggling. And so it is a very, very big issue. But I feel like, and a lot of people are focusing on it. But like you say, it's a lot of what's out there is just helping you feel better for a moment. Oh, I read this nice quote and it made me feel better for a minute. Oh, I read this sort of trite, superficial piece of information, maybe made by GPT now as well, not even humans bringing their own wisdom. And they feel better for a minute. But like you say, in the long term, it doesn't work. And it is so disappointing, and I've been in this industry of self-help, personal growth and development for about god, I don't even know now, 18 years. God, I'm getting older. I just turned 40, so now it's a bit easier to calculate now to add to 40. But I've been doing it for a long time and I've come across some amazing teachers. Yes, absolutely, there are amazing wisdom teachers out there, but there's so much junk. And I'll be honest, I used to believe in some of that junk. I used to believe some of it. I really did. I'll share some of the stuff today we're going to talk about that I used to believe was true. And then since I came across the work that both of us do a few years ago, I realized how untrue it actually was, how disempowering a lot of it is. I think we have this addiction now as well to quick hedonistic highs, happiness, dopamine hits. No one wants to go deeper and really explore what is actually true. I just want the quick quote that makes me feel better, and then I'll share it and go, yay, happy, happy. But you don't want to actually explore what's true wisdom, explore yourself to more deeper depths. People just want the superficial quick, and that's what we're addicted to now, the headline, the meme. We learn through headlines and memes. And I'm not saying that that stuff can't be good. A 30-second reel can be very powerful, but a lot of it is so out of context, which is a problem. A lot of it, like you say, is incomplete. And a lot of it is just superficial. So we're not willing to go deep, and in the depths is where you get the true wisdom. And so that's, I think, where we're stuck at the moment. And so people don't realize, why are we getting worse? Why is stress, depression, anxiety going to be the biggest problem in 20 years? Because we're not doing the real work. We're not accessing real wisdom. We're just accessing what's popular at the moment and makes us feel good for a minute. And we're distracting ourselves. We are distracting ourselves. So it's something very, and I'll say one more rant. My rant's longer than your rant now. But I'll say one more rant that I personally struggle with as well is I don't really resonate with people who teach and speak when I don't feel their soul in their message. For me, I just feel it. There's people out there who are very popular, very famous. They know how to work the algorithms, they know how to get seen, and I feel nothing from them. When they speak, I don't feel their heart. I don't feel their soul. I don't feel their truth. I don't feel that they're really sharing from the depths of who they are, from anything that they've really lived and experienced. They're just copying other people's quotes, sharing the same thing, reading what they read in a book and sharing it with you and acting like they know it. And again, it's like, for me, I need to feel someone's soul. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who don't speak from their soul, but they get very popular because people are not listening from their soul. So it's just ego to ego, right? Superficial to superficial. But if you want to get better, you want to transform, you got to go to the soul, you got to go to the depths, speak from there, hear from there. And I think we are massively disconnected from our own
Mhm.
souls, which is a big part of the issue. Okay, rant over. Rant over. Anything else
Good
you want
stuff.
to share?
Well, yeah. One thing that I've noticed, as a physical indicator of when someone is not speaking from their soul and not speaking from true wisdom, is that they speak in concepts. They don't speak in examples. They'll say things like, when you get into a relationship through fear, these are the three things that happen. But it's a concept, and that there's a million things that can happen. There's a million fears that you can come from. And when people speak in vague concepts, first thing, it's very easy to agree with them. It's like, yeah, if you go into a relationship with fear, of course it's not going to turn out to be good, obviously. But when someone speaks through examples, they're coming from an internal knowing. They're coming from a space of, yeah, I've seen it, or I've experienced it, or I see the patterns, I observe the patterns in real life.
Yeah.
People who just spit out vague concepts, they have no idea what they're talking about. It's just
No.
something they read somewhere, and it's just easy to repeat, and it sounds good, and so people agree with it. and
Yeah.
and the trick, I think, with that is, make it so vague that you can't disagree with it you know
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Absolutely.
saying, like, oh, if you're good to people, people will be good to you.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It
Yeah.
can happen.
Well, how does that really help you in your life? If
Yeah,
you're sitting there struggling, if you're depressed,
yeah,
miserable, hating your life, how does that information actually help you?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, yeah. I love it. I love it. Hey, if you are there, I haven't had any comments yet. I'd like a comment, please. A hello, whatever you want to say. What do you think about this topic? Because I know there's people watching, because I can see the little numbers up there, but I want to know who you are, and I'd love you to share with us what your thoughts are on why most self help does not help. And I'm going to, before we go, we can go into some examples now, right? We've got quite a few
Mhm,
to share with you. Um, I want to just share my favorite line that I now reply to every one of your comments when you put it on LinkedIn, looking at all this false wisdom out there. Um, which is the half, this is from William, but I don't know who originally said it. The half wise shall be dashed against the rocks by reason of their own folly. I love it. Half wise, that is what we are with all of this self help
mhm,
that isn't helping. We become half wise and we actually dash ourselves against the rocks. We make ourselves worse. That again is why I think this conversation is so important, because if you're following things that are not true, you will make yourself worse. I almost feel like it's better to just leave it, just leave it, rather than looking at all these quotes and advice from people and trying to do them, and they're not true, and you actually make yourself worse. So
mhm.
yeah,
I
I
do
love
have
that
a
quote.
question for you.
Mm,
Um, So you said you used to believe in this stuff before when you were really in it, like you believed it. Why do you think that is? What makes it so believable? What makes it so easy to just go along with it?
That's a good question. What makes it so easy to go along with it? I think it is that initial dopamine easing of my own tension. If I'll share actually one of the things that comes up in our examples. If I see a quote that says um, something really trite that is supposed to help me and it makes me feel good for a minute, I think that means I'm winning. Yes, it must be true because I feel good. That's the myth.
Mm-hmm.
If I feel good, it's right. No, not true. A lot of the time, what is true for you will not necessarily feel good. You may terrified of what's really true for you. So I was in a lot of pain in those days. I still have a lot of challenges. We all do. But back then, definitely, I think I was struggling a lot, and I was loving the stuff that made me feel good for a minute. Feel good for a minute. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's all the rah rah, the motivational stuff, and I think it was just that. I mean, I've never really looked at it, so it's a really good question that I'm sure if I looked more, I'd get more awareness of why I was attracted to that. But I think also just my own inner wisdom was not as cultivated and strong, because that's something I'm always developing as I grow in my life over time. I get more and more in tune with my own wisdom. Um, why else was I attracted to it? So there's that level of sort of unconsciousness, that seeking of that. Oh yeah, it makes me feel good for a minute. Also, I think and I still do fall into this trap sometimes. I sort of believe that other people know better, so I take what they tell me and go, oh, yeah, yeah, they might be right. You do what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right on that one. First things first, what you said about we measure the quality of the information based on how good it feels. And that is a horrible indicator because you know what else feels good? Drugs, alcohol,
Yes.
all these things feel good, but you know they're obviously not good for you going, especially long term. So yeah, measuring something that feels good in the moment doesn't really tell you about anything, about the quality of what you're receiving. But also, um, psychologically, in the writers training that we did, you know that there's these seven filters that information has to go through to come and stick with you. So I was thinking along those terms. So it's like, okay, if it's easy to believe, then this information must be passing through those seven filters. One of them is it simple, you know, is it catchy, like does it, you know, just come off your tongue. The other one is, does it, you know, spike some kind of an image or an emotion. And one factor that I think you just touched on was who is saying it is a filter. And usually it's an authority figure that's saying it.
Mhm.
And that comes from our survival mechanism, because back in the day, you know, while we were evolving, to hear the news, to know if we were in danger, to know if things were going wrong, you know, there used to be like council of these sort of old authorities, and who would be running the village, and they would come and tell you the official news. It's like, you know, the difference between a little child running around and telling you that there's a tiger in the field, you know, and then compared to that to the elder of the village telling you that there's a tiger in the field, don't go in there. Who are you more likely to believe? You know, who is it easier to believe? So I really think that's also something that's going on. It's because we see these people as authority figures, and whatever they say, it sticks with us whether we like it or not. But as long as we see them as the authority, the message just comes through, and then we deal with it rather than just rejecting it at the beginning and seeing it.
Mm,
So I do think that has a role to play as well.
yeah. This reminds me of something you posted on LinkedIn about questioning authorities and
Hmm.
leaders.
Yeah.
People really are afraid to question. And that made me think, well, what's that about? Because I look at my life, I've always been a questioner. Ever since young, I was questioning things. I saw truth. I had questions about things. I was like, I saw things, I thought, I'm not sure. And do you know what? It got me in trouble. it got me in
Mm-hmm.
trouble to question. So now it's like, oh, you're going to question. It's a bit risky. So I think questioning, particularly people who are authorities, is
Yeah.
really frowned upon. And people are scared, I think, in many ways to question authority. But
Yeah.
you must question. You
Yeah.
must.
Yeah.
And
Because what happens if you question? If they're right, you learn what they're teaching you at a much deeper level. If they're wrong, then you have your own sense of observation to give credit to. Is like, hey, I just saved myself from going down a hole that I would be in a mess to do that. So, you know, if you question, it either takes you down the road of, yeah, I'm learning everything at a much deeper level, or I'm saving myself from complete disaster. So
yeah,
I really think that questioning and really questioning out of curiosity or observation, not just random questioning, but it's like, okay, if you don't understand something, or if something doesn't fit well with you, ask. Like, for
mm,
example, um, I don't know how relevant this is, but back in 2010, when I was studying math, and there was just this theorem that was put onto us. It was something to do with triangles and how two sides of the triangle are equal, or something like that. And I just couldn't, like, maybe I was too stupid to understand that, but I just didn't understand why that was. And I asked, and everyone was like, why would you ask that? I was like, ooh. And then he just explained it, like he just did like this whole freaking thing of deciphering the whole thing, and coming to, hey, it's like, okay, this is how it works. And
mm,
because of that, I remember, like, uh, first of all, seeing that, oh, these things are not just there because someone made them up. They went through like a process, and I understood that process. I understood um, how to question things going further, and because of that, that helped me score well later on, because
yeah.
that became my method of learning. Is like, just question everything, see how everything breaks down, see how one thing leads to the next and gets the result that you want
Mm,
or don't want.
mm,
So
mm,
for me, that was a big thing, questioning, not because you want to disempower someone, but really to learn, to really understand what the hell's going on, and not
yeah.
just taking everything at face value.
You just reminded me as well of something else that's happening on LinkedIn. I think you mentioned it. At the bottom of the comments, there's preset uh,
Yeah.
responses which just say, "Thanks, that's great, great share." People are just clicking, "Yeah, thanks, great share, thanks." It's like, are you even reading? Are you absorbing? Are you acknowledging? Are you embodying? Are you learning? Are you? No, it's just everything
Are
is
you
so
even a real
superficial.
human being if you're
Right,
doing
probably
this?
just bots and what
Yeah.
they call them engagement pods, where people group together and they just like each other's stuff. This is how nonsense gets to the surface, because
Hmm.
they're not think, they're just, what do they want? They want the likes. They don't want growth, they don't want wisdom, they don't want truth, they just want likes and followers and everything is very superficial. And I think
Yeah.
that's the challenge that we're having, is the superficiality of human nature right now and the way that we live. No one wants to go deep. No one wants to question. No one wants to really act and embody and try things rather than just believe it. We take it in. And again, also think about how much self help people just learn things, don't even try them necessarily, don't embody them
Mhm.
necessarily. And then that's also a complete waste of time. But they get the likes and the follows, and it's just like, yeah. So, hey, how do you feel about doing some examples for people? Do you want to
Ah,
share?
yes, I want to do that.
Yeah. Hmm.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna just try now to share. Okay. Oh, we got Joe first. So basically, when we put this event up, we asked people in the to put into the comments some examples of false wisdom, self help out there, things they had seen and been told in their lives that they now realize are not true. Because, like Arish was saying, I mean, I think that's what you said, but that 90% or more of what's out there is nonsense, or incomplete, or not given in the right context, which can really lead you down the wrong path. So we thought, let's have a look at some examples, deconstruct them a little bit, and have a little bit of fun to see, what people are believing. So Joe put a couple here. So the first one here, Roosh, is nothing happens by magic. It takes hard work and dedication. I personally definitely want to pick on the hard work bit because that was one of
Yeah.
mine that I really used to believe. But what do you want to say to that one first?
So, first of all, I'm gonna go with the magic part because I'm lazy and I want things by magic. I don't want to work hard. So, here's like how I question things. First of all, is this true? Nothing happens by magic. Have you ever encountered anything that is crazily coincidental in your life? Everyone has. Everyone has. Sometimes you meet a person that you never expected to meet. It could be that simple. Sometimes you start seeing things, seeing signs about what's going on within you, and those signs, it's not like those signs guide you. Stuff happens in life every single day. You might not be paying attention to it, but magic is pretty much there. Like, everything happens coincidentally. And what I mean by magic over here is that events happening in your life that you don't really see the cause and effect chain. If you think of stage magic, it's like it looks like magic because you can't see what's behind the curtain. You don't know what they've just done behind the curtain to make it happen. So that's kind of like magic. You don't see the cause and effect chain that got you that person in right in front of you. You don't see the whole complexity of it because we're not designed to. Our mind can't comprehend that.
Mm.
So that's what I mean by magic. And just by observation, my thing is, I always look at results in terms of, okay, here's a statement: nothing happens by magic. Does the opposite happen in life for people, for more than myself? Yes. So obviously this is not true. Some people have experience of more magic, other people have less, but it still happens. So
Yes.
for me, like, yeah, okay, that's not true.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I've had many magical things happen, and I was watching a video actually by Satguru, and he used the word miracle, but I think miracle and magic could quite, aligned for me. And he was like, just look at your body, look at you, like you say. I don't know behind the scenes, how is this made? What is this body? How is it working? What is the cosmos? How is the universe? Everything. I don't know. I can call it a miracle. I can call it magic, but stuff is happening that I don't necessarily understand, or hard work, or blah 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 blah. It's just happening. There's something going on here. And
Mhm.
like you say, I really like what you were saying about the way you approach discernment of the information that you're receiving. Is it really true? Because when you look at that, you will always find examples where actually things have been magical. And looking
Mhm.
at the next point we'll go into in a minute, things have been achieved by people without hard work. So you will always find, so if it can happen, then this can't be, again, it just becomes a rule that you make in your life that's actually not serving you and isn't actually true, but it becomes your reality. Can we
Mhm.
go on to the hard work bit about that
Yeah,
on
yeah,
this?
please
Because
go
that's
for it.
what really happens for me. I
Mhm.
actually had a memory on Facebook show up the other day from 8 years ago, and I had posted a quote which said, "Work harder." And I had posted that 8 years ago because I believed that that was the way to succeed. And I look back now and I cringe because now I know better. But this is the thing, it takes hard work to succeed. And it's like, there are many people out there who work 10 hours a week and have wildly successful lives and businesses and whatever. So what is this hard work? Doesn't mean you don't have to work. Doesn't mean you don't have to take action. We live in a physical reality. To manifest, we must also do things here in this physical world. But the idea of hard work is a complete falsity. And I realized, where did I learn that from? That's the other thing I like to do. Where did I learn these beliefs? And I know I learnt it from childhood. I grew up with parents who were obsessed with hard work, in scarcity mindset, lack mindset, fear mindset, grinding away all day, every day, must work hard to survive. Also, for the hard work thing, for me, it's that self fulfilling prophecy that I must prove myself, I must suffer, I must show how hard I've worked in order to be worthy of success. Again, not true, but that's what my belief is. And so I just create more hard things for myself. My life, my work is always very hard because in my
Mhm.
consciousness, I believe this lie. And people are out there posting it all over social media. Work harder, work harder, work harder, work harder. No, you don't have to work harder. You have to work more intuitively. You have to work more in alignment. You have to work more creatively, perhaps. But working hard is a complete myth. So, anything
Yeah.
you want to say on working hard?
I mean, I would just question it in the sense of, have you ever experienced achieving anything in your life that has been easy, that just came easy? And if
Yeah.
that's true, then why can't other things happen in the same manner? And you
Ooh.
know,
I love your questions. These questions are so good. You have to write them down for me and text me them so I can remember them. And
yeah,
also, whenever, because I got all these beliefs too, I got a lot of this stuff going on. We all, many of us humans have been programmed in similar ways, right? So, I would like to have to hand some questions that I can ask anytime I feel that stuff coming up. Maybe we can post them for people on the comments as well. But you just made me think about a couple of I mean, there's many examples, but one example of when I have achieved something without hard work. Many years ago now, I got into the top 5 new self-help voices in the UK, by Psychology's magazine and Hay House. At that point, I had about a couple hundred followers on Facebook. I'd written like 10 blogs. My friend sent me the advert. I didn't even know this competition was existing, and so she sent it to me. It said, do a 90-second video. So I made a 90-second audition video. I sent it off, completely forgot about it, and I got in the top 5 in the country. That wasn't hard work, it was magic. And I think
yeah.
about another one, the most amazing relationship in my life I manifested dropped in to my Zoom screen session by magic. He was there. And I didn't have to go chasing, finding, working hard to be away and to find a way and go on the, yeah. He dropped in magic, magic, some
So
of the most
here's
amazing things.
here's a
Mm,
question that all the false gurus will ask,
yeah,
or will suggest.
yeah,
And then my question to you is,
yeah.
were you grateful before you got this relationship? Were you
No,
feeling grateful? Were you practicing gratefulness every single day? Because people like Jay Shetty and a lot of other people,
yeah.
they say manifestation cannot exist. You cannot bring into reality an experience or a result that you want without being grateful. Were you practicing gratitude every single day?
No, not even slightly. And this kind of links to some of the other examples we got, but I think we'll address it now.
Yeah.
Is that their belief that I have to heal myself and fix myself before I can have that thing, before I can have the relationship. I used to believe, oh, I got to sort my business out first. I've got to get more independent first. I've got to have these things in a row first. I got to fix my insecurities and blah blah. I used to believe that stuff. And then when that relationship came, I was just as insecure as I was before. I felt just as unworthy as I did before. I had all the same traumas that I had before. I was just as messed up in many ways as I was before. I didn't fix anything, and he came. And even when he saw all those things in me, he stayed and he continues to stay. And we're having a great time. I didn't have to do any of that. The only thing I did do is I held my vision and my intention for quite a while. I just held it and then let it go. I just held it and let it go. And so I don't want to, again, I don't want to take that out of context and say to people, well, that's what we've got to do, because we know there's complexities to that and truths beyond that. But important takeaway there, I did not fix myself. I did not work hard. I was not grateful. I was not thinking positively about the relationships because I hadn't had one for a while. I was like, God, honest, if I'm honest, it's probably more of my brain was thinking, God, who, where, what, when, but to be honest, I didn't think about it much at all. I just did my vision work on it. Um, but yeah, it's all a fallacy. I did not change. I did not. What else would I love your line of questioning. Give me more. These are so fun. Like what else people would say, people giving false prophets, false prophecies, false.
I mean, gratefulness is the biggest one that I find everywhere,
Mm,
but also fear. It's like, oh, if you do anything while holding fear, it's always going to screw up. No.
yeah,
Why?
that's a
Have
good
you
one.
never been afraid and done something anyways? you know
And here's the thing as well, right? Most of the best things I've done in my life, I was terrified all the way through. And I just
hmm
had to keep going forward. in spite of that fear. I didn't fix it, heal it, remove it, be more confident. That's coming up later as well. None of that. I just knew what I wanted, and I was like, I've got to keep going through. I've got to keep going through. I had a lot of fear in many situations.
Mm.
So yeah,
Ah,
really good.
actually, this brings him back to what we started with at the beginning. It's like we measure what's good based on the good emotions we feel, but then also we measure life to be bad by the bad emotions that we feel. And
Yes.
again, just to show you that okay, just because you're feeling good doesn't mean things are good, but also just because you're feeling bad doesn't mean things are bad. So your emotions are just, they don't measure reality, they don't measure objective reality, they just measure where you are in relation to that reality, what you feel about
Yes.
yourself, about other people, about the world, about life, about how things work. And that's it, that's all it is a measure of. It does not measure actual objective reality.
No, and it definitely doesn't measure your potential.
Yeah.
I'm really glad you said that, because right now I'm going through one of those experiences where a lot of stuff is going woo all over, very, very difficult. I don't feel good. But like you said, that doesn't mean it's not good. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't mean it's not still going in the right direction. If I did what most self-help will teach you and said, oh well, it feels bad, so you must be doing the wrong thing. No, I am very much doing the right thing. The only reason it feels bad is because I'm breaking old patterns, I'm breaking old cycles, I'm being rebirthed, I'm transforming and changing, and that is uncomfortable. This is one thing that I will say I think is a good piece of self-help advice, is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because that is just what happens when you grow in most scenarios. You know, the tension, which I'm sure we'll look at today more as well, because that's the other thing. I will say that actually this is one from like my fear around the well-being in the workplace, is that people think, well, well-being means everyone has to be happy and feel good all the time and feel nice and relaxed and never have any stress and never feel upset and never feel. No, that's not wellness. Wellness in the human form is to be growing and expanding and creating. And that feels like sometimes tension. It feels like painful sometimes. So we're not trying to make everyone feel happy and wrap them in cotton wool and bubble wrap. And that's again a misunderstanding of truth and life. And so we mustn't fall into that trap of thinking that that's what we want to go for, because that's not. If you're trying to make everyone feel happy and safe and good all the time, everyone would just stagnate and wither away. There would be no life, there would be no expansion, creativity, growth, innovation. Nothing would be created or produced, because we need that tension to grow. And that's greatest wellness in my book. That's when we are in our optimal state, when we're expanding and growing, not when we're like, oh, I feel nice and safe. That's actually the worst. That's actually the opposite.
Mhm.
So what about process? What do you think about this one? Trust the
um
process.
It's an interesting one because it can go both ways, depending on your definition of trust and what are you trying to imply here. Because we're going by words and not by the tonality of the person who's saying it. So it can mean a lot of things in the moment. But generally, if for example, I have trust issues. I don't trust anything. I don't trust anyone. I don't trust the world. That is my default. So when it comes to trusting the process, first of all, why should I trust the process? If if it was working, I wouldn't need to trust it, I would just do it. It's like, um if I'm driving a car, do I need to trust that if I push the pedal down it's going to move? No, I don't need to trust it. I just need to like do it and it works. And the day it doesn't work is the day I get it fixed. So why do I have to go through the trouble of trusting the process? And the only answer that comes to me is because I would tell myself that to keep myself motivated, because objectively I might be seeing nothing working in my favor. And then just to sort of make myself feel better, to neutralize that pain, I would just say trust the process. Maybe the
Mm,
process is wrong. Maybe you're in the wrong process. How do you know if you don't question it? How do you know that
mm,
you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing if you're
yeah.
constantly just trying to make yourself feel better about the bad things?
And
So
that
yeah.
mm, Sorry, I just said that,
Yeah.
that it just keeps coming up again as you're saying it again. It's that thing of we want to resolve our tension, but tension is the creative force that gets us towards and creating and experiencing our greatest selves. So everything, all this self-help is get away from the tension, get away, like make yourself feel better, make yourself feel better.
Mhm.
And that's, we've just got so many techniques to do that. And I think a lot of the people out there teaching and sharing this so-called wisdom online don't understand that, so they're trying to resolve their tension and they're teaching you how to resolve your tension, and what we're all actually doing is keeping ourselves away from so much greatness, so much
Yeah.
potential.
Right.
Yeah, let's, shall we go to the next one?
Yeah, please, let's do that.
Oh, this is one of yours. I don't know if you can read that. So, success demands three things. I'll just read out the headlines for people in case you can't read it. So,
Yeah.
success demands these, well, it says these six things, but Arusha's picked a couple. Hard work, we've touched on, but I'd love you
Yeah.
to say more if you want to. And the other one is sacrifice. So, this is a piece of self help that we are going to
Yeah.
suggest does not help. Why, Arush?
Yeah.
Tell us.
So hard work, what does it even mean? To me, it doesn't mean anything. What is the difference between hard work and work? For me, the only place it really applies is at the gym when you're trying to build muscle, where you have to work harder than last time to be able to push your body to grow. Um, in terms of getting results, you just have to put in the work. I don't understand hard work. Like, if I'm writing a story, I have to put in the work of writing sentences and words to make the story exist. What does it mean to work hard? You know, what I really personally, I just, for me, it's a disconnect. Like, I really don't understand what they're trying to say.
Mm, interesting.
um yeah, and here it says don't believe in luck. So basically what they're trying to say is magic doesn't exist, luck doesn't exist. You're basically a robot that has to go through the programming of the steps that you've been programmed to live, and you have to do them without relying on any kind of intangible source of energy like your instinct, intuition, sense of observation, all of those things. So for me, that's what they're trying to say here. But personally, I don't understand hard work and what it
Mm,
looks like in real life. So yeah, for
interesting.
me, it's just a very robotic way of living. It's made
Mm,
for robots. You
mm,
want to teach that to an AI system, not a human being.
mm-hmm. And sacrifice? Can I just
Yeah,
read what it says there? Because I
yeah.
actually haven't. If I'm trying to look really closely, it's more. If you don't sacrifice for what you want, then what you want becomes a sacrifice. Everything has its price. The question is, are you ready to pay for it? Are you ready to pay it for the life you desire?
So again, sounds interesting, sounds motivating, sounds like, yeah, it puts you in that space of what am I holding on to? What can I sacrifice? Because it assumes that without sacrifice, you're not getting anywhere, but that's just bullshit. Like, you know, okay,
Mm,
granted, if you're in one relationship and you don't like it and you want to move to a better one, yeah, you sacrifice this one, but that's not the word I would use. It's not a sacrifice, it's just letting things go. So
yes.
sacrifice is like, when it's like in those demonic movies where you're sacrificing like kids and stuff so that you can become rich and powerful. You don't have to sacrifice the things that you love to get the things that you love. It makes no sense. you know
No, it's very
yeah.
true. Yeah, and sacrifice it is. It's got a very low energy to it. Like I must. It basically says to me. It says I can't have it all. You can't have it
Hmm.
all. You can only have a bit of it. And I don't think that's a good premise to live your life by. Is it even a premise or a rule or a belief or a concept? Because again, if that's what you're telling yourself, that's what you will
Yeah,
experience. Do you
I
want
mean,
that or not? Mm,
let's look at a practical example. So I'm trying to apply this to myself,
yep.
and let's say, because I've been writing, so let's say I'm writing. And to be able to write, what do I do I need to sacrifice my sleep? Do I need to sacrifice my relationships? Do I need to sacrifice going out having fun? Do I No, I just set a time for like a few hours where I just write. When I'm done, I just do other things.
Mm,
Just because you're doing one thing doesn't mean you have to sacrifice everything else to be able to do that one thing. You can
yeah.
do all of those things. It's
Yeah.
life
And
is not one.
sacrifice. it implies what you said earlier is that somehow you're losing something. It's like a sacrifice. I've got to lose something to get this thing over here. But no, sometimes you just have to let some things go. Like maybe you do, maybe if you're running a workshop on a day and it takes a whole day and someone wants to meet you on that day. Oh, sorry, I can't see you because I got to do this. I just have to let that thing go for a minute or move it somewhere else. But sacrifice implies you can never have that and it's bad and you got to lose things. Yeah, I don't like the energy of that, to be honest. But yeah, again, it just invokes suffering. This idea that you must suffer for success, which
Hmm.
I think is something that we should be a bit careful about as well.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. What are you willing to sacrifice to get the things that you love? I mean, why do you like? This is not a satanic deal that I have to sign. I'm not sacrificing my soul to get
Some people
more
do
stuff.
it.
But it makes no sense because what you're saying
Yeah.
is, because it's first of all, it's not a sacrifice if you're just throwing away things that you don't like.
Mm,
It's not a sacrifice.
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So a sacrifice comes from a place of I gotta kill the things that I love, but then also he's talking about success. Okay, I gotta
Yeah.
kill the things that I love to get more things that I love.
Yeah. That doesn't make sense, does it?
What does that mean?
Madness, madness. All right. Are you ready for the next one?
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
one you sent me. So it says people don't quit jobs. I'm very interested to hear your perspective on this because
Mhm.
I only opened your email this morning of the examples, and so I just read this one very quickly, and I see this all over LinkedIn all the time. This kind of message, the same message. So and I
Mhm.
haven't really thought about it. Like, is this true? So I'd
Mhm.
love to hear what you say on this. So this one says people don't quit jobs. They quit poor managers, poor compensation, poor culture, lack of growth, lack of support. If you're losing your top talent, it's a sign something needs fixing. Arush, go.
Right. So my first question is: do people quit good managers? Yes. Do people quit good compensation? Yes. Do people quit a good culture? Yes. Good growth? Yes. Good support? Yes. People do quit. Why? There's a million freaking reasons. A million reasons. And it can be, hey, I found a passion that I wanted to follow, and screw everything else, I want to live that. It could be, yeah, you guys are great, but I've just got a new offer that is greater. And I'm sorry that you can't live up to it, but I got to think for myself in my job. Um also w- what pisses me off is that this is probably written by someone who quit. you know
Yeah.
this is probably written by someone who at some point quit, and blamed everyone else but themselves for quitting. you know um
Mm,
Listen, most workplaces are toxic in the world. All of them, I would assume, at some level are toxic. All of them have, because we're dealing with humans. We have egos, we do stupid shit to each other. And so if you're expecting to be in a perfect place to work, it's not going to happen. And if that's something that you're seeking, you're going to quit. And also, what if you're just incompetent? What if you're just dumb? What if you're just incapable? And you're just embarrassed to be working in a good place? Do you not quit? I know I have before. So it's like, no, but there's a million reasons to quit. And blaming everything on everyone else but yourself is just not functional. It's not going to take you
yeah.
places. And also, taking all, like, the companies taking all the blame for their talent quitting, also not the case. So
No. And
it's yeah.
this is the pendulum swing of duality that is trapping us in this false wisdom and why self-help doesn't help at this level of consciousness, at this egoic level, because okay, I've got poor managers and people are quitting. So then I must get good managers. No, like Arush says, people will still quit for other reasons. Oh, people are not getting paid enough. So the pendulum swing is I must go and do the opposite. I must pay them more. No, people will still quit because they have other passions and other things they want to do in their lives. So if you get stuck in this and like this person says here, you got to fix something, you're never going to get out of that because pendulum always swings both ways, right? But it's not taking you to the higher truth and the higher wisdom, which is, like Rouge says, there are a myriad of reasons. Now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't aspire to have good managers and to pay people well, if that's true for you and you want that to be part of your company. But don't then link that to people quitting. If I do all of that, people will stay. No, they won't. So you're just giving yourself an illusion and a delusion that sends you down the wrong path because you haven't fully understood the truth.
Mhm.
That life is not black and white, it's many shades
Yeah.
of gray. There are various aspects and perspectives to see.
Mhm.
And if you, and again, this doesn't have the full context, but again, also takes me back to the fact that in this current day and age, we don't want the deep truth and the myriad and the other angles. We just want the quick quote. Oh, yeah, I like that. Oh, if you don't do the deeper work to understand the context and the greater complexity of the situation, then you will not get the true wisdom.
Mhm.
And then the self help will not help you.
Yeah, I mean, look at the number of likes and comments and reposts on this one.
Oh,
Can you see?
yeah.
Can you see how many people believe this? Can you
Yeah.
see how many people are like, "Yeah, this is it." It's not it.
Yeah.
You can't
And
oversimplify human complexity by saying these things.
no.
There's a million things going on with people.
Yes, and imagine those people then going off with this bit of self-help advice and work advice and then quitting their companies and saying, well, it's because of my manager and it's because of the compensation and it's because of this and it's because of that. And like you say, but hang on, what role were you playing? And is that truly it? Is that truly what it was about? Were there other things going on that you might benefit from exploring within yourself?
Mhm.
So there's all sorts of things that, again, it just makes it easy to, like you say, not take responsibility for your own life and your own decisions, because you just blame it on the company. And I completely agree with you, a company can only take so much responsibility,
Mhm.
for what people do, because they're humans, like
Yeah.
you say. They're going to do all sorts for all sorts of reasons.
I've,
Nice.
I've got a good example
Mm.
of the lack of growth. In because a lot of the times we are not aware that we are growing, till we've actually grown and we look back. A great example of this is the Karate Kid movie,
Hmm.
wax on, wax off. He's thinking he's just slaving away at helping this old man keep his whole thing clean, but it is at the end when the old man says, this is what you've been doing, this is what you've learned actually, and when he puts it into practice, he realizes, fuck, he's been growing this whole time.
Hmm.
And 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 so the whole thing of lack of growth, lack of support, poor culture, when we are coming from the victim mentality, everything seems bad anyways. Yeah,
Yeah.
seems bad. Support seems bad, even if it might be good, even if it might be decent, even if it is okay, it seems shit.
Mm.
So I really think this what's incomplete about this post is personal responsibility.
Yeah. Yeah. Love it. Really good. Okie dokie. Next, we have, this is one from Facebook. So, oh yeah, these are the ones that are selling you your. Oh dear, I've pushed him too far. Pushed him too far with this one. Yeah, these are the ones that are selling you massive programs for very lots of money. So it says here, you were born perfect, but you have all these programs that need to be transformed and your beliefs need to be purged. We know how to do that for you. And if you don't take advantage of this offer now and spend lots of money, this will pass you by forever. And there's more there, but it's basically that manipulation, selling technique, the
Mhm.
scarcity, and all of that. That a lot of people in the self help industry are using to make themselves very rich, to make other people's poor, and to unfortunately keep other people stuck in the myriad of pain because what they're teaching doesn't actually help. What's your view here, Arish?
I mean, first of all, like I could just deconstruct this for days. First of all, you were born perfect. Who says? What if you're born without a freaking finger or something or some defect or something? You're not born perfect. No one is. And I kind of understand what they're talking. It's like, a better way of saying this would be you're born whole,
Hmm.
instead of perfect. But also, then they sort of dismiss it. You're born perfect, but you're not really perfect. But we can
Mm.
make you perfect.
Yeah.
So give us the money and we'll make you perfect. But if you don't take it up, then you'll be imperfect for the rest of your lives. I mean, you're just saying something and then you're dismissing it, and then you're saying that we can give it to you, give you something that you already have, but if you don't take it from us, you'll never have it, but it's something you already have. I don't know, man, like how people come up with like
Yeah, I'm not a fan of any of that technique, which I see. I've been to a few seminars. A lot of people I'm sure out there have been to, and I've been to some good ones as well. We'll say that I've been to some good ones with genuine teachers who really know their stuff. But I have been to the ones that are just awful. I think I wrote in the comments on this one. I went to one, right? He was teaching about financial stuff, and
Mhm.
he was putting pictures on the screen of himself lying on gold bars to prove how he was the authority and had made money, and to make you want to be like him and give him 10 grand for the. And the reason he's on the gold bars, by the way, is because you're giving him 10 grand, and 100 people are doing that right now. But it was just awful. And then they planted like a fake person in the audience to act like he'd won the prize of lots of
Mhm.
stuff of on the USB of like courses or something like that. And it was so fake. I think that's what bugs me about all of this as well. A lot of it is so fake. Like it's not to truly serve another person, it's to serve yourself. All of this fake stuff, all these fake gurus, they might think, they may not even be aware they're not really serving you, they're serving themselves, but they're dressing it up as how they're trying to help you, but really it's trying to give themselves something. And I will say that can be a very sneaky unconscious thing that you don't realize you're doing. So I'm not necessarily saying everyone out there is purposely manipulating you and trying to take your money, and they may genuinely think that what they've got is good, but deeper inside it's really about their own validation, their own self-worth. They want their own significance, they want to serve themselves. And unfortunately you are now part of that game if you play along. So yeah, a little bit of rant about those sorts of things, but there's a lot of that out there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people will um bet their life savings on this stuff, man. And for
Mhm.
me, again, it comes back to what I said earlier. Use your own intuition and wisdom and sense. Is there soul here? Is there heart there? Is there authenticity? Is this truth? Or is it just playing on my fears and my insecurities? And which one is it? Because that's how I try and judge anyone that I follow, anyone that I give money to, go on trainings to, all of that. I feel it here and I resonate with the truth, or I get the alarm bells in my own intuition telling me this is a load of nonsense. And everyone has that wisdom. I say this all the time in my trainings. You are your own guru. I can share you some things of what I do. I can share you some tools, but I say to them all the way through my trainings, trust your own wisdom, your own intuition. Is this resonating with you? If not, leave it. Take what floats your boat. Take what feels resonant. You are your own guru. We've got some things coming up that link to that really. Shall we go on, or anything
Yeah.
else you want to share?
No, let's move.
Okay, here. This is one of yours that you sent. Make it happen. Shock everyone. Arush, yay. Make it happen. Shock everyone. Is that what not what we want
Why
to
do you
do?
want to shock everyone? What is the point? I mean, this is obviously coming from a place of someone who feels hurt, someone who feels unsupported in life, someone who's been told that they can't do anything or achieve anything in life. So their natural reaction is then prove them wrong.
Yeah.
But really, you're still playing their game. You're still, your behaviors are still motivated by what other people think of you, even if you're proving them wrong. You're not doing anything for yourself. What are you trying to make happen? That is the question. Why are you trying to make it happen? That is a question. you know it's not about shocking everyone. And also, if you're doing everything alone, you're not collaborating. You're not allowing people to come in and help you. You're not allowing a space for good people to show up in your life. It's just like, no, I'm going to do it alone. I'm going to prove everyone wrong.
Yeah.
It's the most ineffective way of doing something.
Yeah. Love it. I don't need to say any more on that. Oh, I didn't see how many likes that got. Probably quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Next one. This one. I think this was from. Oh, I can't see it on the screen. Never mind. Oh, exit full screen. Um, quitters never quit because winners never quit, or something like that. Or quit, yeah, quitters never win. Sorry, because winners never quit. So what they were saying here is really seems like there's a bit of a ego in that. Persistence is one thing, but what if you quit smoking, or quit being hard on yourself or others, or forgive more? What if you quit hanging around people that disrespect you and are not growing with you? How about quit caring for others that don't appreciate you and start taking care of yourself? How about quitting that day job that isn't serving you, and take a chance on something different? So there's no shame in quitting if we've given it our best and it doesn't serve our highest good. Um, Sometimes we have to let things go to make room for new and better things to come. So yeah, there is, again, it's half wise, right?
Mm.
Never quit, never quit. But what if you're doing something that isn't actually the right true thing for you? Why would you carry on doing that? Do you know what I mean? What say you, Arush?
Yeah,
I
I
know there's
mean,
a lot
obviously.
there, but you'd have to unpack it all. But
Yeah,
whatever
but
flows.
it's explained well, you know. It's good. It sets good context, because that's what's missing in these rules or these statements is context. You know, yeah, sure, it applies somewhere, but there's other places that it doesn't apply. So taking it on as a rule for life is just only going to get you into trouble. What if you get into and I know people like this. What if you get into a relationship that you realize halfway is not the one for you?
Yep.
But no, you're not a quitter, so have a great life. You know.
It's so true. I love that. Um, just do you know what? Do you know what I've just realised, which is very annoying, is that
What?
Jimmy's comments and no, I was thinking, why is no one commenting? Because normally we have comments.
Yeah.
Jim has
Well,
been commenting and then not showing up on my platform, which is so annoying. I'm sorry. I'm going to read them. I just felt to check on my phone. I was like, let me just check because
makes sense.
it's very strange that no one's commenting. So now I'm going, oh, I can't, but why is that? That's very strange. Um,
Yeah. Let's get into some comments.
but yeah, okay. For normally I can put them on the screen. Really
Mm.
don't know why that's happening. But now I'll just read them for you. So Jimmy, I hope you're still there. Give us a little thumbs up if you're there or something, because that's all I can see. He's been posting as we were going.
Yeah.
So the comment might not align with obviously what I don't know what we were talking about, but he said, "You are your own guru." I like that. Thank you. It's very good. You are born whole, not perfect. Exactly.
Mhm.
Sacrifice. Yes, letting go is a better framed concept. I have to fix myself or have enough before. A strong belief indeed. As you say, not true. I think everything is more superficial these days. You are right. Thank you, Jimmy. And I'm very sorry that hasn't been coming up on my platform. I don't know
Mhm.
why. So what I will do is just have a quick look on the other platforms in case there's anything that
Yeah.
we're missing, because I do apologize, people. Um, no, nothing on that one. It's mostly Facebook, but I think we're good. But I'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
I think in particular, I will keep the Facebook one open here. And then afterwards, I'll have to have a look and see what happened, because that is not normally a problem. Well, it's not a problem I've ever had before. So I'm glad I checked that and that we could check in with Jims. Thanks for being here, Jims, and thanks for sharing. And if there's anything else, he gives us a little thumbs up. If there's anything else you would like to share, please do continue. And I've got you here now on my phone. Okay, good. So next one.
Yeah.
I didn't put the whole thing because there was
Yeah.
lots of small text, but basically someone was posting about on LinkedIn, unlock mental growth, embrace the power of holidays. And I think they had some more details of why holidays are good or
Yeah.
something. Rush comes in with the chat GPT. That's a whole nother thing. We're going to talk about that chat
Yeah.
GTP. But yes, go.
So the thing with ChatGPT is that you can say anything to it, and at the end of it say, write me an article about this, and
Hmm.
it will. and it's going to be, first of all, the easiest way to identify it is to copy paste it into something. It's a website called CopyLeaks, where it checks for AI content, and it's very easy. Once you see what AI content looks like, it's just very easy to decipher. They always have these emojis, they always have like set sections, number of things, and at the end of it there's always a conclusion, and there's never personal examples. There's always this vague sort of thing that they say that sounds right, but can't really argue with it. But it's like, it doesn't really say much. So I mean, unlocking mental growth with holidays, it's just made up. Like, yeah, someone just put two things together and said, write me an article about this. That's it. That's what happened here.
Oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad. I was looking at the examples that it was actually I've got it on another screen right here. Let's have a quick look at it. Um, so unlock your mental growth through holidays. They said rejuvenate the
Oh,
mind and body
wait,
by
something
allowing.
happened to your voice.
Oh, hello, am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here, but it's like it's cracking a lot for some reason. I don't know what
Oh,
happened.
how's this now?
Now it's
Is it
fine.
better? What
Yeah,
if I
it's
do
fine. Yeah.
this now? Is this okay?
Yeah.
Am I okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So they said rejuvenate the mind and body by going to the beach and things to
Okay.
have a fresh perspective
Something went
on
wrong
life.
again with the voice.
Okay, do you know what I do? I won't go to that page because every time I go to that page, it's on my that tab. It seems to be cracking up. Is it okay now?
Yeah.
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 Okay, I won't go there unfortunately because there were a few things in this tips in this piece, but yeah, generally this is it, and I'm very interested to speak actually a little bit about Chat GTP because I have not yet done my own intuitive inquiry to see what is my truth regarding it,
Mm-hmm.
and AI generally, but also Chat GTP. But I so I don't know. I haven't really inquired into what's true for me, but I do have a thing around because I think it can be used. Like people can use it to help structure things, to learn things. It's not a bad thing at all. But when it comes to this particular type of content as well, when we're talking about self help, people's lives, to help them with something they may be struggling and suffering. Again, for me, it also comes back to there's no soul in this because I'm pretty sure Chat GTP doesn't have a soul. There's no soul, there's no heart. And for me, human beings resonate from the heart and the soul. So if you want to really feel the impact of truth and wisdom, you feel it in your soul. You feel they say the truth has a ring to it. And that's what shifts your energy and your consciousness when you experience this truth, not just delights your mind for a minute and makes your body feel better for a second. No, no, no. It's much more profound than that when you know you've touched on truth. Chat GTP, you're just like you say, getting a myriad of stuff from the internet that is, I don't know how it works, but it's bringing to you. And again, it makes it easy for people to be false gurus because who will know that this is not written by a human being? And so I'm not sure about using it to create, self-help wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't agree with then playing it off as your own content because for me, one of my greatest values is authenticity, and so I just get really irked when people are like, playing it off and acting like they wrote that when they didn't. Even if
Yeah.
you just wrote at the bottom, I got this from Chat GTP, then my respect goes up for you 100% more,
Mhm.
but the content itself, and having that as self-help, what do you reckon, what do you think?
I mean, it's bad content to begin with, because this first version of ChatGPT, or well, even all versions of ChatGPT, are based on what's available on the internet. That is, including good information, including bad information, including conspiracies, including the craziest shit that you can find anywhere. It knows it all. It goes through it all. So you can't really rely on it for good, accurate content all the time, especially when it comes to how do I say this, less mathematical forms of content that don't have a correct answer, that are, by nature intangible in some way, or vague in some way, or like, you can't write an article about how life works with ChatGPT, because there's a million ways that life works, and the internet doesn't have all the answer. And my biggest problem is that it is based on past information. So whatever
Mm,
information is there is what will be used to tell you about the future. Now, anything that you ask it, it's not relevant to the moment. It's just, yeah, here's what's been said before,
yep,
and I'm gonna pretend that this is what exists.
yep,
So it's not a good place uh, to come to for human based information about
yep,
consciousness, about instincts, about work life balance, so to say, and any of these things that we experience on an everyday basis,
mm,
that is supposed to be dealt with human complexity, and not
yep,
just some simple mechanism that just scours the internet for information.
yep. I love that. I'm just reading a comment from Jim. He said, AI, artificial intelligence, is dot, 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 artificial. And that's exactly it. It's the
Yeah,
artificiality
yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Um, and I think it's so interesting. We're so obsessed now with artificial intelligence, and yet how much of our own intelligence have we actually unlocked? Most people probably about 5%. I
mhm,
don't know, maybe not even, but, or maybe some bit more. But I mean, I was completely making that number up, but I don't think it's very good. I don't think we're doing that well. We have immense intelligence in our being, intuitive intelligence, wisdom, knowing, connection through all time and space, creativity. We hold that in our consciousness. We can access that. It is in us. And yet, rather than working on that, everyone's like, well, let me go and create an artificial intelligence over there, which isn't even that intelligent. I know on an intellectual basis, I think I read someone said, or I watched some video, a Google AI expert, he said, or ex Google AI expert, because he chose to exit that thing. He said that very soon we will have an artificial intelligence that's a billion times smarter than a human being.
mhm,
But he used the
true.
word smart. So intellectually smart,
Yeah,
intellectual quotient IQ, but not EQ, not spiritual quotient, not intuitive quotient, not creativity, all of that, um, which is what we have, that we
yeah,
barely have touched. And we're not even, most people are not even looking for that, because now it's like, oh, well, we create this intelligence out there. And I'm like, you are the greatest intelligence.
yeah. I mean, what it essentially does is it solves problems that have a specific answer. So, for example, law exams and medical exams, it's been seen to pass those exams, and that's what it does. You give it a problem that has a solution, it gives you that solution.
Yeah. But when the human realm and human development and our growth, it's much more
Mhm.
nuanced and complex than that. So relying on ChatGTP to give you helpful
Yeah.
information is probably not very wise. The
Mhm.
half wise shall be dashed against the rocks. Don't dash yourself against the rocks, darlings. That's what we're saying. That's why we're doing this. We don't want anyone to be dashed against the rocks. So let's have a look at the next one. Having a group of successful entrepreneurs as friends is a different kind of flex. Why do you not like this one, Arush?
Well, first of all, why again? Why do you need to flex it? What do you have that is missing in your life that you need that kind of a flex? And also, having a group of successful entrepreneurs as friends. What about you? Why are you not a part of that group of successful entrepreneurs, and why does it have to be your friends? And also, if you don't have that right now, maybe you're the problem.
Mm,
Maybe it is you who doesn't want to take responsibility for their lives and do something great. Because the thing is, you don't pick and choose your friends, really. You can, but it's always going to be a transactional relationship. The level you're at is the kind of people that you'll sort of naturally glide to in your life, and they'll naturally tend to come towards you. So trying to force it differently,
mm,
there's always going to be a mismatch. Say, you know you find a group of successful entrepreneurs, but you're not, what are you going to talk to them about?
Mm,
Why are they going to want to talk to you? What value do you bring to the table that makes them want to be there, to stick around with you? You might, get away with a few conversations like a superficial friendship, but really, like, if you're not at their level of thinking, if you're not at their level of processing the world, processing life, why would they want to hang out with you? Why would I want to hang out with someone, me speaking personally for myself, why would I want to hang out with someone who has absolutely no idea that they're insecure in life, that they have no idea that they have belief systems, that they have no idea that there's anything imperfect about them, or they pretend that there's nothing imperfect about them? I don't want to hang out with those people.
mm,
It's the same thing. Why do I want to hang out with them? They don't offer me any original opinions. They don't give me that there's no fun conversations, because they're constantly thinking about themselves, and that they're not sort of going on this journey or adventure of conversations with me. That there's nothing enjoyable for me in that friendship, in that relationship. So why would I go there? So think of
mm,
it. Why would
mm.
successful entrepreneurs be there with you when you're not?
When you're not
I'm
one.
not saying, yeah. What I'm saying is, like, you don't have to be a successful entrepreneur, but you certainly have to have something.
You gotta bring
Um,
something. Yeah, you gotta bring
yeah,
something.
you gotta
No,
bring
I
something to
agree.
the table.
Yeah.
They're not adopting you, and you're not their child.
I think as well, like, what I get from this is, especially looking at the caption as well, making friends and connecting with successful entrepreneurs not only inspires us personally and
Uh,
professionally, but also opens us up to opportunities for our careers to grow. All the
okay.
power in this is outside. I need
Yeah.
these people around me to inspire me. No, inspire, inspiration, from
So
inside. You inspire from within,
yeah,
but all the power
I
is
just I
outside.
just remembered. I just remembered what I commented on this. I spoke about, okay, if gaining friends is any kind of a process to you, then you're not doing it right.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Say that again for me.
So if making friends or developing new friendships is a process that you have to go through, then you're not doing it right.
I like that. I like that. I definitely, yeah, I vibe with that. Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. Very good, very good. I was just going to go on more about how, yes, absolutely, I've experienced that in my life. Like all of the people that are my greatest friends, I didn't have to try. You
Yeah.
slot in, right? You slot in.
Yeah.
Um, I'm just going to read a couple more comments. So Jim says IQ is not EQ. So true for humans to realize. This is the thing.
Mm.
We always have prioritized IQ, intellect. Intellect is not your only or highest level of intelligence. Intuition, I would say, is your highest level of intelligence, but emotional intelligence is also very important. And instinct, which is maybe where I don't want to get into I mean, some people use those words interchangeably, instinct and intuition, but there are various forms of intelligence in this being. It's not just about intellect, and we prioritize intellect, and that's probably why we get sucked into all this nonsense self-help, because we're not
Yeah.
taking through the wisdom of our intuition. We're not using our instincts to guide us in any direction. We're not emotionally connecting to what we're reading and so on. So if we're only taking it through the intellectual mind, that's why we go, yeah, that sounds really good. But it is nonsense, because we're not using all of our faculties, least of all the highest one,
Mm.
which is intuition.
Yeah.
And yes, artificial intelligence, god knows where that's going, but that was where that comment came up, is that doesn't have intuition and emotional
Mhm.
intelligence. Jim also says this is a good question generally. What value do you bring to the table? I like that. Jim likes that. I like that too. Often we're like, what can everyone do for me? What can I get from other people? But what are you giving? What are you
Mhm.
giving?
Yeah.
Something I noticed the other day is that I was feeling really, like I said, got a lot of stuff going on that's very difficult. And generally, I'm exhausted and tired, and I had a headache for days. And I then had a scenario where I had to put my focus on serving others, my nephews. I had to look after them. I had to feed
Mhm.
them. I had to cook for them. I had to make them comfortable. I had to do things with them. I took all the energy and attention off, because prior to that, I was just like, oh, me. I feel so bad. I feel so bad. And then they came along, and all of my attention 100% was now on, how do I make them okay? How do I make them have a great time? How do I look after them? How do I nurture them? How do I have fun with them? How do I care for them? All my attention went on to them. I kid you not, within a few hours I felt so good. My headache gone, my tension's gone. I just felt great. Because often, we're not thinking, we're like, whoa, me, but actually, what are you bringing? What can you bring? How can you serve? How can you give? Is just something that I learned the other day that I thought I would
Yeah,
share.
and also, I've been having such conversations lately with a lot of people, and the one thing that keeps coming back to me is, if you're so focused on yourself, how can you ever be present with someone else? How do you
Ooh,
know what's going on in their lives? How do you know they need to be served? I mean, think of it in business. If you're so obsessed with your own marketing, with your own as the sales pitch that we were talking about, with what are you trying to do to get money from these clients? I mean, if you're thinking along those lines, you're not observing what they need. You're not observing the obvious things that go on in their lives, because you're so obsessed with your own.
yeah.
So you're completely missing out on some important information that can help you move forward,
Mm,
if you're not self-obsessed. So self-obsession, I think, is a very big problem that I see occur in people, because it completely takes you out of the present. And what I mean by being present is that the ability to see what's going on through an unfiltered lens, through
mm,
so you're not seeing the world from your pain, but you're just seeing the world. Because
mm,
if you're constantly seeking out money from your clients, it's a lens of incapability in your you're seeing them with more money, you're seeing yourself with less, and every single action or every single observation you make from that point is going to be in relation of, okay, money, how do I
mm,
get it from them, why do they have more, why do I have less? Those are the only things you will process. But if you
mm,
let that go, if you let yourself go and be, and you'll really see what problems exist in other people. You'll really see what they're going through, and not just like see superficially, but you'll understand the complexities and the undertones and the subtleties of what someone is going through. And when you know that about someone, you can truly serve them. You can truly
mm,
serve them, whether that is in business, whether that is in a coaching session, whether that is just as a friend. Like, if someone isn't, like, for example, this happened a few times with me, where if I'm sort of in my head, or if I'm how do I say, if I'm quiet and there's something going on in my life, and generally I've had friends who just keep talking, like, who just talk, and they're talking about themselves and their lives. And I've come out of it a few times realizing that they never asked me how I was doing, even though it's obvious that I wasn't doing well, because they never saw it, because they never saw outside of themselves. And
mm.
so when you're not present with anyone, you're not in the world, you're not doing things, you're not moving things, you're just moving things internally that don't do anything for you anyways.
I love that. That's really powerful. Um, I've just got a comment from Jim. Being of service to others helps me grow too. Yes, you do
Yeah,
ultimately benefit.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, there's a couple of things that are coming up as we talk about this, because this is something that I feel like, and it's the clues in the word self help. I feel like
Hmm.
so much of the self help is obsessing about yourself, and there's a lot that can be gained, as we've just said, by forgetting about yourself and being of service to someone else, and seeing that we are connected, that we are one, and that we are one. I made a comment about that before that brought up lots of things, but anyway, um that really is something that I don't see a lot in the self-help personal development industry. I don't really see anyone saying be of service. What can you bring
Mhm.
to the table? How are you helping others? How are you giving your gifts and talents? How are you expressing yourself? How are you connecting better with people? How are you being present with people? I don't really see a lot of that. I just see a lot of here's how to help yourself feel better. Here's how to help yourself, because it's self help. But
Yeah.
perhaps the greatest journey to transformation comes from other help. Help
Yeah.
others. And
Absolutely.
that's
You know,
something that I
I'll give you a great example. People like this group in particular, I feel is great when it comes to service of others and actually getting in transformation. It's the Alcoholics Anonymous. It's the
ah
Anonymous. Because what they do is, once you're in and you're trying to get out of it, the first thing they do is they give you a sponsor, someone who's been there, someone who's done that, and they put you on that program. They get people to serve you, and when once you've recovered, you go do that for other people.
Oh, I love that.
So I mean, this honestly, I believe, take it as you may, self-help promotes narcissism, nothing else.
Mm,
Nothing else. You obsess over yourself for a long enough time, you become a narcissist. That's it.
that's so interesting. Do you know what is also interesting? I'm going to share something that I was recently going through, because I think, again, we have to realize, I've been doing our creative development work for about 3 years. Prior to that, 15 years in the world of personal development,
Mhm.
done a lot of work and have made progress, particularly in the last 3 years more than ever. But I still fall into traps because it's unconscious. Because I feel like there's a bit here, it's like, it's important to understand that a lot of this that people do, where self obsessing over self, they're not conscious, they're not aware, they don't have the deeper wisdom. Because I caught myself in this very trap a little while ago, and I'll share with you because it's in the works, the place of the area of work. Because I was struggling, I was feeling like something ain't right. I can't remember what took me to this realization, whatever intuitive work I was doing. But I realized my false end result, where I was focusing on myself, because our egoic nature is
Mhm.
to focus on self. We all have ego, and it's all
Yeah.
about me, 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 me. So it's not bad, it's not wrong, it's not you're doing something wrong, but there is something much greater available for you if you want it. And that's what we do, and that's what we teach others to do. And that's why we're having this conversation, because there's
Hmm.
something so much greater available to you. And so I went through that journey, and I've literally got it on my wall next to me, because I have to remind myself every day, because that part of me, that self obsessed part of me, will keep creeping in when I'm working. And that self obsessed part of me is all focused on self. And it says, I have to be the hero. It
Hmm.
says, I have to be popular, significant, famous, rich. I have to have all those things. And then I went to my heart and my truth. I was like, what's really the vision, though? And the words that come up, what do I really want? What's true? The work is the hero.
Hmm.
I want to be of service. I want to help people's hearts. I want to have heart to heart connections with people. Love is the truth. That's the truth. But my self serving nature absolutely is there and can distract me and have me going down these roads. I think a lot of people don't realize that they have another nature, they have a higher
Yeah.
nature, they have another option. And so all they
Hmm.
can do is stay in the ego and stay in the self help world and the self obsession
Hmm.
world. Thankfully, I have the tools that showed me, okay, that part of me is there. The things I need to be the hero, I need significance because I've got wounds and blah, blah, blah. But also, here's my truth in my heart. I want to serve. I want to help people. I love having heart to heart conversations and connections with people. That's what makes me sing. I love to do that. That's what I do. But I had to recognize that, and then I can choose that. I think a lot of
Hmm.
people out there, like you say, in the self help, it's all about self, 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 self. Is anyone
Yeah.
actually teaching you other community service? Do you know what I mean? The connection, we're
Mhm.
all connected.
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah, where I was going with that, but I just,
Mhm.
yeah.
No, it's a good point. And what that makes me think of is the underlying assumptions that exist in the self-help modality. What they're telling you is, or what you're telling yourself most of the time, is that you can't do anything until you're fixed. That, like, that there's nothing you
Yes.
can bring, there's nothing you can do. You're completely broken as you are, and so nothing will ever work out for you. That's the underlying, that's the basic assumption that these people live by. But then if you change that assumption, if you're like, okay, if I had something to offer into the world, what would it
Mm,
be? As
mm,
soon as you start going in that direction, even if you don't know what it is, you can come up with answers because it's an open-ended question. You might
Yep.
take some time, but I feel that is a pathway into discovering your actual true nature, because it's not true that you have nothing to offer. You've done that
Mm.
before in your life. It's just about recognizing what it is, and pinpointing the essential essence of what it is that you want to bring. Also, I feel that there's another assumption that occurs, is that whatever you have to offer is not valid in the world. It's
Mm.
yeah, you like talking to people, yeah, you make friends easily, yeah, you like to speak. The basic assumption is, yeah, that's not good enough. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? What are you going to bring? What's that going to do? What's talking going to do? you know um so there's two things I feel that self-help does. First of all, it tells you that you can't do anything, and then when you figure out that yeah, you can do something, sort of dismisses, yeah, but it's not enough, and you have to develop your communication skill first, and you have to learn to be assertive first, and you have to learn to
Mm.
be a powerful speaker first, and you have to learn all these million things first before you can actually go and do the things that you want. It's just not true.
And the whole thing is so egoic, right? It's such a false diversion to keep you in your lower state.
Yeah.
Because, like you say, none of that is true. You don't need to be more confident. That's probably one of the examples I think we got coming up here. You don't need to be confident to have what you want. You don't need to. I always use this example. There's so many people very successful in their careers, their industries, whatever they might be, who I've seen them. They get on stage and accept their 10th award for being the best in their industry of art, acting, singing, whatever. And they literally say, I don't deserve this. I don't feel worthy. And before they go on stage, they're like, oh, I don't think I'm going to get it because I'm not worthy. You see people who have done 1,000 shows on stage, singing, dancing, whatever. I think it was Lady Gaga. She said that before she got on stage, she still feels so sick and it's like pukes up because she's so nervous because she's not feeling confident. She's not going out there like, yeah, I'm the greatest, but she still does what is true for her to do, and they still get the results because you do not need to fix any of those issues. You just need to go directly for
Mhm.
what you want. And the whole self, I say whole, but intuitively I'd say probably 90% of the self-help industry is telling you you got to do something else before you can have your greatest life. And actually, that whole thing is sending people down the wrong path in life and keeping them stuck and making it worse.
Mhm.
And I'm only just realizing how much of a big problem that's going to be. I've
Yeah.
just got another comment, if that's all right, Arush, just to share from Jim.
Yeah.
Just offering your service in the community can help growth. I started volunteering for things, and my journey has opened up paths towards my true nature and purpose. I love that, Jim. Thank you for sharing that, Jim. It's interesting. It makes me think about a couple of things that came up for me a number of times in my life. And I will admit here on the camera, I did not take action on them for various reasons. I'm sure Arush will probably pick on them very obviously and quickly. But there were a couple of things I always wanted to do. I wanted to volunteer at like a soup kitchen type place at Christmas. I wanted to go and serve Christmas lunch to people who are homeless and people who, are in, I think they're generally homeless people. I wanted to volunteer and do that. And there was another thing where you were able to mentor a young person. And so teen or something to mentor a young person and a teen. I wanted to do that. And I didn't do it. We're not going to go into why. This isn't my coaching session, but I'm sure there were things maybe there. Um, but I see what Jim is saying here is when you really serve and you give. Interestingly, I have one of my choices. It's I choose the end result of unconditional service that uplifts and inspires. There's no conditions on it. I don't need anything back. That's when I
Mhm.
feel most whole, complete, and loving life is when I'm just giving and serving because I love doing it, because I want to give from my heart, because it's such a joy to give from my heart. It's
Yeah.
not because I want something back and I got to get something back and I need fixing and I need to help myself. But by default, when you give from that place of purity, you will also receive. But you don't
Mhm.
do it because you got to receive.
Yeah.
And like Jim's saying, it's opened up more paths towards his true nature and purpose by giving and serving others. And yet, I think self-help by its very nature is to serve yourself. And I'm not saying there aren't things sometimes where you got to do something for yourself,
Hmm.
you got to put yourself to bed and have a good rest. You got to feed your body good food or whatever else it is, right? But like you say, it verges on obsession, psychological obsession with the self, which only makes that part of you stronger and keeps you further away from realizing that there is a much greater part of you that does not need fixing and doesn't need help. It
Yeah.
just needs expression.
Yeah.
Just needs
Exactly.
expression. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
I
like
mean,
that bit. There's a part of you that doesn't need help. I gotta write it. I gotta write it. Carry on, Arush.
it is so true because especially what Jim has been saying, it's like, yeah, you know, I've been coaching for the last 8 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the only thing, as you said, the only thing that has changed
Mm-hmm.
is my expression of my service. So I've been doing the same thing for the last 8 years. I've been saying the same principle. I've been teaching the exact same thing, and the only thing that has changed is how I express myself. Is the words that I
Mm,
use? Is um, the tonalities, or I don't know. It's just my way of communication has become more precise. Is what I would say, but nothing else has changed. I've been serving, and like I've been doing the same thing for 8 years, and the only thing that has changed, because of my expression, is the world around me, is the people that I work with, is the quality of the people that I work with, is the
yeah,
number of people that I work with. But I've been only doing the same thing for the last 8 years, just
yeah,
service,
yeah.
just the same thing,
And
just service.
a- and I feel like there's a honing of your skill, there's a maturation of what you do, there's a depth and it's like the fine wine is maturing and getting richer and richer, and that's just part of you expressing it more and more
Hmm.
from your heart, doing
Yeah,
it, living it, breathing
exactly.
it. That will happen. But you didn't need
Hmm.
to fix yourself. You didn't need to do any of that. You didn't need to help yourself. You just know in your heart who you are and express it and do it
Yeah.
each day, or do it. Just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. And that then fills you, right? To me,
Mhm.
that's the greatest
Yeah.
help. If you want to help yourself, that's the greatest help, is live your true nature and
Yeah.
purpose, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Absolutely.
hey, let's go on to the next one. Is that cool?
Mhm. Yeah, sounds good.
Oh yeah, you have to be productive. The next myth. Bro, Pack says, bro, sometimes the most productive AF thing is doing absolutely nothing and enjoying the heck out of it, which, cosmic joke alert, can be the absolute hardest, excruciating thing you couldn't even imagine. So there is this myth out there to be successful, similar to the hard work one maybe as well.
Mhm. Yeah.
To get your results in life, you must be very productive. We live in the matrix where modern companies and the whole system is based on the old industry, which is we are worker bots, we are productive, we are measured. I mean, Amazon is still doing it, right? You're just a resource. How much are you
Yeah.
producing? Produce. Doesn't matter what you're producing if it's going to any higher good. It's just quick,
Mhm.
churn stuff out, even if it's a load of nonsense, even if you hate it. But I will certainly pick, for me, I would like to just focus on what Pax says at the end, because I lived and breathed that, still do. Doing nothing and enjoying that can actually be the most beneficial thing, but also the hardest thing. I really
Mhm.
struggle with that. And I know from what I've grown up with and modern society out there, if you're doing nothing, they're going to look at you and say, you're a lazy bum. Why are you not doing
Yeah.
something? You know? But actually, all of this doing is not actually helping us in many
Mhm.
ways.
Yeah.
What say you, Arush?
Yeah. It's awesome because, like, you got to question, okay, do people get results when they're not productive? Yeah, they do. For example, I got an exam that I have to study for, and I don't study for it, and then I just go and cheat, and I get the results anyways. I wasn't productive, but I got the results. Similarly, it's like, okay, you're starting a business, you don't want to create your own website, you don't want to, put in the work, you don't want to put in 5 hours a day trying to, you just like, I gave it away to my sister. I'm like, hey, you do it, and she's like, okay. And then I'm like, I'm not being productive, someone else is. but the
Mm.
job is getting done. And I feel like that's what people forget. It's more important that the job gets done rather than you being a certain way about getting it, making it done. So
Yes.
you don't have to be productive. If you want to be, you can be. You don't have to work hard. If you want to, you can. You don't have to be a great person. If you want to, you can, but it doesn't
This is
affect
the thing.
the result that you get.
This is the important thing. The end result is what's most important. And the
Yeah.
reality is, when you look across the planet, you will see that there are people who are awful and who are not productive and they're getting results. They're getting results.
Mhm,
So, this is really the message here, I think, Arush, as well, is be discerning about what you believe and what people are sharing out there. Don't take
mhm,
these things as truth. They can be very limiting and they're not necessarily actually true. So this next one, we won't read it all, but this was basically about how it's very similar to what we're just saying, is that you need to be confident, that you need to be
mhm,
confident, you need to build confidence, and it's a journey. They say celebrate achievements, set realistic goals. Realistic goals. Why would you set realistic goals? This is a confidence booster. Embrace imperfection, positive affirmations. Oh, we haven't spoken about fake toxic positivity and affirmations yet. That's a big one out there. That's a
mhm.
big one. Along with the belief that you should be happy all the time. That's another one out there that's a load of nonsense and gets people into a lot of trouble. Seek constructive feedback. Okay, cool,
Mhm,
so I personally would like to pick on the idea that we should make positive affirmations and be
mhm.
positive all the time, and the fact that, but we've already touched on it, but the fact that, oh,
Yeah.
they're saying you need to be confident. You don't.
Yeah.
Arush, what is anything standing out for you?
I mean, yeah, why do you need confidence? What does it give you? And really, the only thing it gives you, it makes you feel comfortable in an uncomfortable situation. But by nature, uncomfortable situations are always going to be uncomfortable. So does that mean
Yeah,
you're always going to be chasing comfort first before you get into an uncomfortable situation? That's just adding too many steps on the way to get what you
yeah,
want to, anyways. So, for example, it's like if you have, let's say, Lady Gaga, you gave an example. Let's say there's a concert that you have to host, and you're just uncomfortable and you're feeling completely inconfident in yourself. What do you do if you want to gain confidence because you believe that you can't move forward without confidence? Well, most people, that's why they do drugs, to
mm,
ease the pressure. So you're not really getting confident. It is just that you're reducing the pressure that the outside world exerts on you, and that feels like confidence, or, well, dysfunctional confidence.
yeah,
And so if you start chasing confidence, you're just going to go down roads that you don't need to go to in order to get the things that you want. That's just
yeah,
a delay in the process. That's too many steps on the way. It's
yeah,
inefficient.
yeah. And I think, the words come to me about feel the fear and do it anyway. When I
Yeah.
think about all the areas of my life where I've grown, any progress I've ever made in any area, the one thing that really, really stands out true for me personally is I felt the fear and did it anyway. There was
Yeah.
no other way. I'm not saying there aren't. I'm sure there are, if I thought about it, sometimes where actually it was quite comfortable and I was growing. But I'm not sure because, like you say, the nature of growth is that you stretch and you have tension, and therefore it isn't comfortable. So anything I've ever done, I had to do it in the face of feeling not confident and fearful and not knowing what was going to come. But just I know I've got to do the thing. I'll just do the thing because I've got an end result.
Yeah.
So like you say, if you're what are you actually chasing? What or not? I don't even like that where they say chase your dreams. It's like don't chase it. That means it's running away from you. Create it. Create what you want.
Mhm.
But the what are you actually focused on? Where are you coming from? Are you focused on being comfortable? Or if you're Lady Gaga, are you focused on getting on stage and doing what you love and giving your service and your gift? Are you focused on being comfortable, or are you focused on, serving your clients? Are you focused on being, because you can't have both. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're focused on the wrong thing. And that's what this is
Mm.
telling you. Like you say, get comfortable,
Yeah.
no, sorry, not comfortable, but confidence as well, right?
Yeah.
Am I focused on
Yeah.
confidence or am I focused on just doing what I need to do?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
So my
Mm,
question would then be, what does real confidence look like? Where does it come from?
yeah.
And does it actually affect anything? So,
Mm,
to give you a good example, if you look at any movie,
Yep.
They start off with the main character just getting into trouble, having a lot of challenges on the way, coming to a point of complete hopelessness and loss, and then they pull themselves out of it, and defeat the villain and basically save the world most of the times. But
Mm.
what you'll see is that real confidence in the hero comes at the end, when they've defeated the villain,
Mm.
and they go back to share their gift with the world. So Superman, for example, defeated the villain, sort of comes out of hiding on Earth, faces the villain, gets beaten up a few times, beats the villain at the end, and then he's confident because then he's revealed himself to the world. Then he's accepted the fact that, yeah, you know what, I have become this powerful. So
Yep.
confidence is not something you get at the beginning so that you can do the things that you want to do. It comes at the end as a byproduct of you getting stuff done.
I love that. That is so true and so powerful. I love it. Let's see what Jimmy's saying. Jim's saying we are human beings, not human doings. This was on the productivity point.
Nice.
Can't remember who said that. I don't remember it either, but I do love that. We are human beings, not human doings. Resolving tension and getting comfortable and confident kills creativity. That's it though. We're trying to resolve our
Mhm.
tension. We don't like to feel tension, but tension is the creative force, and so we don't achieve what we want, and we don't actually help ourselves in self-help, because all of self-help is trying to resolve our tension. So
Mhm.
I'm just realizing that more and more as we speak about this topic. Oh, these are mine. Yay, my turn. I put myself a bit further down. I was like, I'll let her do
Yeah.
everyone else's first. So this actually is one of my favorites. Why self-help doesn't help, and a lot of people are spouting this across the LinkedIn and
Yeah.
all the stuff. The first one up here is just nonsense, and it's people say this is how you will be successful. Prescriptions, prescriptive
Mhm.
formulas, and they say this is what I do. I wake up at 4 a.m. Then I have an ice bath. Then I journal for 20 minutes. Then I meditate for 10 minutes. Then I run for 30 minutes. Then I drink a green smoothie. And then I start work. And then, if you do this, you will be successful like me. And sadly, many people will read that and go, oh, that's exactly what I must do to be successful, healthy, happy, whatever it is you want in my life. And then they go away and they try it and they hate it. They give it up. They don't enjoy it. And because they give it up, they feel worse about themselves, because that is not your formula. That is someone else's experience. And it doesn't mean that it's true for you. I'm not saying that maybe an ice bath won't necessarily help you. Maybe it will. But there's so much out there, whether it's in self help or business, people saying, follow my 6 steps and you will be happy, successful, healthy. No, you won't. If it's not true for you, it will mess you up even more. And there's
Mhm.
so much of this out there. And again, it's half wise. People need to take what they see through the filter of their own wisdom. Does it resonate? Is it true for you? If not, please don't go and do it, because you will just make yourself feel even worse. So there's a lot of that out there. Personally, I dislike it. Anything to say on that one, Aruj?
I'll just give you an example of how this is not true,
Mm,
because there's people who do the exact opposite and they're still successful.
exactly.
Um, Donald Trump, a few years ago when he was president, there was this news that came out. It was just so funny that he said that exercise is bullshit and he doesn't want to exercise. And then later on, there was a news that he slept while having a McDonald's burger, half-eaten McDonald's burger in his hand or something, and he fell asleep. And I'm like, great man, this dude's successful. He became the president. He's still, running for elections. He's still alive. He's still living the way he wants to
Yeah,
live.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
formulas
yeah.
applies to some, applies to one, doesn't apply to all.
Yes, and that's the key thing, right? You will, in all these cases, you will find examples of people succeeding, living, creating, getting what they want, and they are not doing the thing that this piece of advice is telling you to do. That's the
Mhm.
biggest thing I'm taking away from this today,
Yeah.
is that there's so many rules, concepts, ideas, formulas, nonsense out there that is just because it's true for you or someone else doesn't mean it applies to everybody. It doesn't. And if you think it does, you end up going down the wrong track. Um, the next one here, confidence, we've already spoken about.
Mm-hmm.
Fixing yourself, limiting beliefs, that we've spoken about. You can still think that you're awful, insecure, not worthy, and still go and get it. Like I said, those people who go on stage, they still feel nervous, they still don't feel good about themselves, they still judge themselves, criticize themselves, but they still go and do what they want to do. A similar example I had earlier of my relationship. I didn't have to fix any of my insecurities and my unworthiness to attract the most
Mm-hmm.
amazing relationship in the world. I didn't have to do that. Someone else will tell you that you do. You got to fix all your beliefs. Lots of self help is saying this. Fix your beliefs. One of the greatest things for me was when I went on Williams Create Your Destiny training and I
Mm-hmm.
heard that line of you don't have to fix your beliefs. You just reorient to your higher. You just act from your higher. You're not broken. You don't
Amazing.
need fixing. And again, the whole self help industry is based on telling you that you need fixing and that you're broken, and
Yeah.
you're not. You are not. That's the greatest revelation, one of my greatest revelations. Do you want to share anything on that one, Arish?
Yeah. I'm thinking a few things. First of all, um, like hearing that I don't have to fix myself was a massive relief. Like, okay, there goes 20 hours of me trying to manage myself every day. Don't have to do that anymore. Great, a lot of time, a lot of space. And speaking of William and his courses, one thing I always found hard to sort of comprehend, or maybe it's the word that really didn't fit with my vocabulary, was the word orientation. So I do want
Mm,
to address that because I kind of had to figure it out for myself. So
sure.
orientation is basically, what fixed point are you using in your life to derive information about yourself, where you are, how you're doing, what's your progress in life. So for example, the North Star is fixed in the sky, and it's used to be used for navigation at night. Through, like, you could basically go through across vast distances over the ocean just by that one point in the sky. And also in movies, how do we know that the hero is progressing? Because there's always a wise man, someone who's ahead of him, someone who's the authority. And every single time that the hero makes a leap in the journey, there's usually a conversation, there's usually like a checkpoint where the wise man checks in with him and gives him advice and stuff like that. So that's how we know that the person is progressing, because there's this one fixed person or character. So when we say orientation based on your limiting beliefs, so what you're saying is, what's broken about me is true and it's fixed, and based on that, I will behave to navigate my life. But what if you change that? What if you say, okay, my highest potential, I don't might not know what it is, but let's fix that. Let's say I want to be a great musician going forward. Let's just assume that I already am a great musician. Let's fix that. So, what happens when I go out there and I perform badly? If I'm oriented towards my limiting beliefs, I'll just tell myself, well, I'm shit and there's nothing that can be done about it. But if you orient yourself to your highest potential, where you use that to do well, it's like, okay, I'm a great musician, but this didn't work out today. Well, gotta try again tomorrow, then do better, because this is not who I am. With orientation towards your limiting beliefs, you're saying, this is who I am, and this is what I deserve, and this is my limit. With orientation towards your highest potential, you're saying, this is not who I am, I can always do better. And that
Mm,
just comes in naturally. So yeah,
yeah,
that's what I wanted to share.
love it. Very nicely
Mhm.
explained. Thank you very much. Um, the last one is you have to heal before you can create the life you'd love. It's very similar to I need to fix myself, I
Mhm.
need to do this, I need to do that. Like I said, I still got all my wounds and I've created the relationship example is one of my greatest creations. Is it's all there and I didn't heal anything. So well, I'm sure I've done I have worked, right? I've done progress, but not because I needed to heal myself and then
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the thing. It's you got to do this and then. No, just go
Hmm.
directly for what you want. Let's go on to the next one.
Yeah.
A person who feels appreciated will always do more than what is expected. Again, I've seen this. I've actually probably shared this in the past. I reckon I probably
Hmm.
have, because this one's been going around for a while. I'm sure I would have shared it on LinkedIn or something. So
Hmm.
tell me, debunk this one. Why is this not helpful, or what does it make you question?
I mean, you gotta ask yourself: have you ever seen an unappreciated person who's, overtly aggressive? Like, they do end up doing a lot more in life in general. Like, the biggest example is like people who feel not good enough and they're high achievers. They're
Mm,
they're never appreciated. Their whole thing is every single thing that I'm doing is not good enough, and it's not going to be appreciated as it is, so I got to do more. People who are running away from, unappreciation do a lot more, achieve a lot more, even though it is dysfunctional. They do more. And this one is talking about being appreciated in teams and at work, for example.
mm-hmm,
I
mm-hmm.
mean, what if you're appreciated, but you're just a shit worker? you know you're not going to do more. You're just not going to
Very
do more
true.
because you're a shit worker. Yeah. So sometimes you need to kick up the ass. Hey, you're a shit worker, we're going to fire you. Get your ass back on the line and do some more work. That makes people also do work. So this can happen sometimes, but there's so many other things, as I said before, it can
Yeah.
also happen. Appreciation can work, unappreciation can work, aggression can work, kindness can, everything can work. So this is just like, taking a glass in the ocean and saying, hey, there's no fish here, so fish must not exist. Something along those lines. It's like you're just looking at this small one thing. So much is possible.
Yeah. And I think what's important here, again, and why we're doing this, is that helping people understand the wider possibilities. Because, again, a lot of
Hmm.
people will do this. This is, again, when I'm teaching in corporates, it's about helping people understand that the best results come from taking an individual approach. You don't give your whole team the same thing because of exactly what you just said, Aruj. Different things we say what's our phrase in England? Different strokes for different folks. Different things will work for different people. Different people want different things, will act in certain ways based on different kind of scenarios. So if you just think, oh, well, then I must appreciate everyone, you might be in for a disappointment, because, like Aru said, you might appreciate people and they do even less. Maybe they do even less. Maybe they leave. Maybe they do, So again, don't just take these
I'm,
things superficially. Mm.
can you imagine? I'm just putting myself in a scenario where I'm at an office and I'm doing no work, and the manager just comes in and says, "Hey, you do good work." I'm like, "Okay, then I will do even less." you know, why should I work if I'm appreciated for not doing stuff, or if I'm appreciated for that? Well, you know, fine, good man.
That's so
I'll just
true.
sit there, take the money, go home. Thank you very much.
Oh man, I love this. I love this. Like, look at the truth beyond these words. That, again, I'm sure this one would have
Yeah.
had hundreds of thousands or 20, tens of thousands of likes. But who is actually looking deeper into that, into the reality, into the truth of human complexity and the way we
Mhm.
behave and how we are? If you really want to affect human beings, affect yourself and others, you need to be a little bit more sophisticated and realize that, yeah, this blanket approach doesn't work and may get you the wrong result. Really good, really good. We got another one here from
Yeah.
Pax. I think we're nearly. I don't think we got too many more. Pax, this might be the last one actually. Or a couple more. Pax says how kids are expected to care about their parents when they, for the majority of their life, displayed a very clear disinterest in their life. I think this is actually very important because there's a lot out there around, particularly people who've had a lot of childhood trauma, very, very
Mhm.
very abusive, unhealthy upbringings, bad relationships with parents, very, very, very damaging, basically. And you will often get this idea in self help as well, which is, well, but they're your parents, love them anyway. This is what keeps people in abusive relationships and all sorts, is that dynamic. that no matter how much I am hurt, abused, treated poorly, trampled on, oh, but they're my parents and I should still care for them because they're my parents. Almost, you know, and I think it really gets people stuck in horrible situations and guilt and shame rather
Hmm.
than really doing what would help them.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's an interesting one. Any thoughts on this one?
I would just say, stop telling people what to do, and
Yes.
let people do whatever is relevant in the moment for them, because you don't
Yes.
know their context, you don't know their situation, you don't know what's happening, you don't know anything. So
No.
anything that you say will never be exactly a good match for the person that you're
Yep.
you know that you're speaking to. So even in coaching sessions, we don't tell each other what to do.
No.
We get it out of you. It's like, okay, you say this is, so my job as a coach is just to clear things up. It's like, okay, this is going on, that's going on, this is, if you react over here, it's going to take you down this direction. If you react over there, it's going to take you down that direction. What the hell do you want to do? What's
Yep.
your instinct about it? And my job is to get your instinct, because as you said, you're the best guru you can ever have. So
Yep.
my job is to get that out of you. And this is what I believe. It's like, let just people be, let them do what they feel is best for them.
Yep. And in one case, it may be to care, to love, to bond. In another case, it
Yeah.
may be to say, see you later. You don't
Yeah.
know. For each person, it's different. Exactly. And that's the problem I think we're coming across here is all these blanket pieces of
Hmm.
advice. Again, if you are not filtering it through your own wisdom and your own truth, then it can really send you down the wrong path. What else there was one here, but I didn't fully understand this one, but I think it's just similar from here as around, and again, blanket advice about
Yeah.
parents don't spoil your children often by withdrawing love and attention. I think, look, I'm not a parent, so I don't feel qualified to
Hmm.
speak on this too much, but
Me
I
neither.
do think that it's very prevalent in the parenting education space where there's lots, again, it's very similar to self-help, all these rules of
Hmm.
how you should raise your child, what you should do when they cry, what you shouldn't do when they cry, blah blah blah. And again, people are disregarding their own instinct and intuition
Hmm.
and following what's written in a book,
Yeah.
and it could very often be at the detriment of the child. I have
Yeah.
seen it where the mother's instinct in particular is powerful. The mother knows the baby's crying, hold the baby. But the book says, no, leave the baby to cry for 3 hours and then they'll settle down and they'll learn. And I'm like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not a parent. But if my
Hmm.
heart and soul is telling me my little baby wants a hug, I'm going to give my little baby a hug. Your intuition, your nurture, your being, your sense, your soul knows your wisdom of how to nurture your child, not a
Hmm.
book written by someone else necessarily. Not saying the book's unhelpful. Also, caveat again, I ain't had any babies. I don't really know what I'm talking about. So,
Hmm.
but I just think again, it's the same thing, right? It's just
Yeah,
lack
just
of wisdom.
relevance of the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Okay, I think this is the last one. Yes, it is. And you again shared this with me. So again, I'm very interested because
You're
I
freezing
did
up
what.
still, or
Oh, hang on. Tell me when I'm here again. Am I here? Am I here? Am I here? Am I frozen? Am I here?
yeah, you're here now.
I'm here now.
You're
Okay.
here.
Okay.
I'm
So
okay.
this one, I think you're freezing now. Are you freezing? You're a little bit choppy, but I think we're good. Just
No,
say
I'm
something.
here.
Okay.
I-
So last one.
I'm here.
Again, okay. I got you. I got you. I'm very interested to know what you would say to this because if I was glancing down my news feed, I would look at this and go, a wise man said, I mean, I don't know about that bit, who is, but worrying does not take away tomorrow's troubles. It takes away today's peace. I would be one of those people, even now in my
Yeah.
journey, I would still look at that and go, oh, that's nice. Yeah, that's cool. I like that. But is there more to it? There's a reason you put this in the pack. What is it about this one? I'd love to hear.
My problem with this is that it doesn't do anything. It's like basically saying, "Hey, worrying is bad. Don't worry anymore."
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you. You've just solved all my problems. I'm depressed. Yeah, don't be depressed anymore. All good, man. You solved my life. Um, yeah, it doesn't say
Yeah.
anything. It sounds great. It sounds deep. It sounds true, but there's just so much more to it. Yeah, don't worry. That's not good for you. Don't worry. But yeah, thanks. I know that.
Yeah. But now what?
What do you?
Exactly. Nothing's
Yeah,
changed. Nothing's
yeah.
changed.
I'm
I
gonna
like
worry
that.
tomorrow still. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this comes for me back around to what we spoke about earlier, the superficiality of our current modern world. We don't want to go deeper. We don't want the complexity. We don't want the nuance. We don't want the exploration. We just want the little
Mhm.
thing that goes, oh yeah, that's nice. Oh, that feels good for 4 seconds. Oh yes. And then we move on. And then we just live the same lives for the rest of our lives and
Yeah.
don't realize why is nothing changing? Because we're not employing true wisdom and going deep
Mhm.
and doing the work.
Yeah.
Okay, I see it. I see it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So because let's talk about worrying. Let's actually see what it's about.
Yep.
Worrying is um basically you don't know what's going to happen in life, and you're scared that something bad's going to happen, so you have to figure out what's going to happen and how do you adjust to it. So
Yep.
again, the orientation is about everything else in life is more powerful than I am, and it's going to dominate me, so I got to figure out a way to navigate that so that I can keep myself safe.
Yep.
That's really what's going on when we worry. And
Yep.
again, the point of orientation is in our beliefs.
Mhm.
We're saying it's like, okay, I am powerless to deal with things, and so you take that as a fixed point, and so no matter what happens in the world, you're going to see it as a threat. You're going to see it as, I'm not in
Mm.
control, anything can go wrong, I don't know
Mm.
how to deal with this.
Mm.
But if you just change that point of orientation, it's like, okay, I have the power to deal with anything, let's just assume that,
Yep.
then why would you worry?
Yep. I like that a lot. I really do. It reminds me of something I heard someone else say was he was talking there's a what's his name? Matthew Hussey. I think he's like a relationship coach and speaker
Mm,
and all that sort of stuff. And he said you don't try and trust that the other person is not going to cheat on you. You just trust that you'll be okay if they do. So
yeah,
for me, it's that sort of reorienting your power back to yourself. We don't
exactly.
know what's going to happen in the world. We don't know. There's all sorts of stuff is going to happen. But keep your
Hmm.
power in your own center, that whatever comes, you will handle it. You will do whatever you need to do.
I'll figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. So hey,
Hmm.
we've done a lot today. Do you know how long
Yeah.
we've been going?
It says 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Oh, you can see that as well.
Yeah.
Oh, how fun. I love it. I didn't realize it would go that long, but we didn't set a
Mhm.
limit. But I like that, to be honest. I'm like, I don't like
Yeah.
to like
Me too.
restrict the expression.
Hmm.
So what I will do now, we will just take those off. So we've had a lot of fun there with a lot of different things, which has been
Hmm.
great. So is there anything else you'd like to share at this minute? I feel maybe we could do some key takeaways. First of all, thank you for the comments and the shares that we've had. Jim, bless you,
Absolutely.
darling, has been sharing so much. I love it. Thank you, anybody who's tuned in, whether live or if you're watching later as well. Thank you for the people who gave us the content, because there were many of
Hmm.
your examples of where self-help doesn't help that we asked for, that you gave so generously. So thank you for those. And yeah, it's been good fun. I think, should we do, I feel I want to concretize for myself, and I love that this is
Hmm.
happening, because I set an intention before this session that I also want to learn and grow, and I want to have my aha moments as well. And the one that's really sticking out for me that I want to share to then also concretize for myself is the very simple question, which is I've got some comments here, but we'll do those in a minute. Lucy,
Yeah.
Helena, hearts to Helena, and so we'll do this in a minute. I just want to share the powerful question, so simple, but you just ask this: is it actually true? Just spend a moment. Is it actually true? Are there examples of people who have succeeded and created things that go against what you're reading in this self-help? Are there people? And just look for that, because so much of it is not actually true. And if you take it as truth, it becomes your truth and it becomes your limitation in your life. But actually, just question, is that actually true? And what I will also say is that for me, a bit of that can be a little bit jarring, right? Because there's a part of me that wants to hold on to what I believe and what I think. And so when
Mhm.
I challenge that, it's a bit uncomfortable because it's like, oh God, you
Yeah.
that's not actually true. So, but that's good because discomfort, growth, expansion, we're breaking through things, we're
Mhm.
shifting. Um, but I just really like that very simple question. Is it really true? And the second one that I feel goes with it, can you find examples where it's not
Mhm.
true? Because there are.
Yeah.
And then you'll see, oh, hang on. You open yourself up to so much more
Mhm.
possibility. I think the other
Yeah.
thing I will also just take away is that the self help industry is so self obsessed. And actually, what we uncover today is that service to others, looking at others, focusing on others, giving to others is actually a great way to help
Mm.
yourself. But actually,
Yeah.
most of self help is just about self obsession. Me, poor me. I got to fix me. I'm broken,
Mhm.
me, blah, blah, blah. All playing on your insecurities. And actually, there's one more takeaway I will share, which is then I'll let you share and we'll do comments. Is that the 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 desire we have for the quick dopamine hit, the quote that makes me feel good for a second, the
Mhm.
little meme that makes me smile for a moment, but it's not actually true, full, complete, and you're not embodying it. You may not be acting on it. You may not going deep enough to really understand truth, but you're just trying to resolve your tension. Again, I think a lot of
Mhm.
modern self help is out there to resolve your tension. And if you know what Arush and I know, that is actually stopping you from creating all the things you actually want because tension is the force of creation. And self help wants you to feel better and not feel tension. And so you're dampening and destroying your very essence and force that allows you to actually go for what you want in life. So, big realization there for me as well.
Mhm.
Oh, there's so many, and I said I'd stop. You don't need to fix yourself. You don't got to fix yourself to have what you want. You're not broken. Just go for what you want. Let me do. Can I do comments, Arush? And
Yeah.
then
Let's
do
see
you want to
comments.
share
Yeah.
your takeaways? So Lucy is here, darling, beautiful. Hello, soul. She said, just caught the last part. Love these. Give me your favorite myth. Oh, there's so many. We've covered quite a lot today, Lucy. If you want to go back
Mhm.
and watch it, if you have time. But Arush, is there one that stands out for you? Is there a favorite myth?
I mean, my all-time favorite is you got to be grateful. I
Yeah, you
mean,
should. Yeah.
yeah, it's just, what if you're an asshole? What if you don't like being grateful? What if that is you? You know, do you have to force yourself to be grateful to get the things that you want to get? No,
No.
you just do.
No.
If you are a grateful person, great. But if you're not, you don't have to be.
No.
And what that brings me to is that there's no rules. There's never been any rules. There's no rules. Any rules are made up, and you got to really understand what is a rule. By definition, it's a statement of how things work, and if you don't follow the rules, there will be severe consequences, and if you do follow the rules, then you'll get rewarded. I mean, if grateful is being a rule, then people who are not grateful, do they not get success? No. So why are they being rewarded for breaking the rule if it's a rule? So it's not a rule. So
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
big,
think
man.
of the most successful people who are assholes. They for sure are not grateful. They don't practice gratefulness. They don't.
Yep.
But
Yep.
yet they're successful.
Yep.
So there's no rules that you have to follow to get the things that you want to get. You just have to make your move. That's it.
It's so simple. And something I used to say that's coming back to me is rhythm, not rules. So
Hmm.
find your rhythm, your resonance, your rhythm, your frequency, your vibration, your truth, your path, your knowing. Find the rhythm, not the rules and the rigidity that other people are projecting, society is projecting,
Yeah.
that everyone's making up. That's not your rhythm. So let go of rules. And the idea, not the idea, but the truth that there are no rules is so incredibly liberating.
Hmm.
If you really feel that from your heart, that is magical. Like, I can do whatever the F I want to do. I don't need to do anything different, have this, fix this. There's no rules. I can make it up. I can make up my own journey. I could be ungrateful and still succeed if I wanted to. That's not personally something I
Mm.
want. I love to be grateful, but I don't need to be grateful before I can succeed. I can make
Mhm.
my own path because there are no rules, no limitations, no fixed path, no fixed way. Society will tell you that. The structures out there will tell you that. Culture will tell you that. You must do it like this. Nonsense. You don't go do it anyway. You don't go to do anything other than in your rhythm and your
Mhm.
resonance. There are no rules, and that is the ultimate freedom. That's why we
Yeah.
are inherently free as creators, as spiritual beings. We are inherently free because we get to choose our way. We get to receive and express in our way. There are no rules. I am going to just immerse myself in that. I feel like that would be really good circle work. One circle is there's rules and a way to do things and a way things are versus there are no rules. There are no
Mhm.
rules. What does that look like? What does that look like? That'll be interesting. Love that. Helena Hearts. Hello, Helena Hearts, back to you from both of us. Jim says it's just a meme, social media snapshot. It's like breaking up a book of wisdom into chapters and verses and selecting bits rather than looking at the whole information held. Boom.
That
Jimmy,
is amazing. Yeah.
smashed it, Jim. Smashed it. That is exactly what it is. That is it. Love it. Thank you, Jimmy. Lucy says, so true. I'm grateful for you guys. We're grateful for you too.
For
Absolutely. We're
you,
grateful
man.
for all of you. Hey, okay, fine. You can say what you want to say. I'm grateful for you. And Helena says, yes, everything is created. Nothing is meant to be, so nothing is set in stone. Oh, the liberation of that.
Amazing. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Helena. Absolutely beautiful. Let's do those circles. No rules versus there's a way things are. Do you want to do that now, Helena? Have you got a few minutes, Arush? Like a
I kind of have to
couple?
leave in about 10-15 minutes, so
Ah, okay, okay.
Mhm.
I do you want to do? I mean, could you do it quickly, or I'm not sure. What's true? What's true? What's true is that I also have calls and I need to go and eat lunch and have a
Mhm.
rest because we've been going for so long.
Yeah.
But I think I would like to
we
do
should
those circles.
consider we should consider that this is not a one time thing that we're doing. So
I don't think it
yeah,
is. I don't think it is.
yeah,
Shall we log this? Helena, if you do those circles, I would love to hear what you get. Yeah, Helena's only got a few minutes as well. But let's write that down as some circle work
yeah,
because I think that would be fun. And we can all do that. And I think, like Arush says, because this is just too much fun. Like, so I can't imagine that we're never going to do this again. So if
yeah.
you're enjoying this, and I love now more people came on a bit later as well. So
Hmm.
getting the conversation going is awesome because it just makes it even more fun to be sharing it with you all.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to write this down. No rules versus there's a way things are. Um, circle work. Yeah, if people like this sort of stuff, we could definitely do circle work and
Yeah.
things together as well. I'd love to do more of that. But yeah, really, really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed
Oh,
debunking and
yeah.
realizing with the illusions we live in, right? The illusions of this is real, this is true, and it's just trapping you, and suddenly you realize it's all just beliefs, thoughts that you've
Hmm.
adopted, concepts that you've adopted and made your reality when actually they're not true. And other people are living in totally different structures that are giving them amazing results, and you're over here and there thinking, "Oh, hang on." So busting through that, there are no rules. Anything is possible. You
Hmm.
create your own reality. You create your own unfolding. You create your own path. I
Yeah.
love it. I really, really, and yeah, most self help darlings is not helping you is what our key message was from today. So let's close it there, and then we can both have a little bit of a break before our next things that we have to do. Thank you
Sounds good.
again, everybody, and anyone who watches later. This was an absolute joy. and I
Great.
appreciate it so much. And I appreciate you,
Mhm.
Arush. Thank you. And I
Yeah.
appreciate everyone who joins and watches and comments ever at any point during this and afterwards as well. And I'm sure we'll be back here soon. Is there something you want us to talk
Mhm.
about? If there's something you enjoy doing that you'd like to share with us that we could do and host for you as well, let us know. Helena says, thank you. Thank you, Helena. And she sent us flowers. I love flowers. Thank you. I take the flowers. And yeah, have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you, Arush, again. And
Thank
yeah,
you.
watch this space. Bye,
Mhm.
bye, bye.